line screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies. While the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polished choir. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand. Buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth it's harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. America, fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. What a day. Holy smokes, we got so much to get to. There is massive news, another amazingly crazy day from the Supreme Court. We got a very mixed bag here, although things went pretty much exactly as we predicted. So I don't know why so many people are blackpilling. You know, I get the perspective. Some people get on a roll where we've been winning a lot. There's been a lot of good things, but get a couple setbacks and everybody acts like the world's changed. It hasn't. Well, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about why the SCOTUS ruling sucks, but it doesn't change too much. And at least not going forward from where we've been. And guys, listen, if you guys think that, for all the people out there, especially on X, blackpilling, blowing up, I got to tell you, things have been much, much worse for our nation before, and we've gone out of it. We've gone better. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to break it all down, the rulings, why Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, as well as back-to-back days after upholding mail-in ballots yesterday, coming in after Election Day. Not the best stuff, but pretty much according to plan, although the mail-in ballots ruling was a surprise. But there's always good stuff to look at, guys. There's always good stuff, and there's a lot to get to. President Trump has plans. We got a lot more time with Trump. This is nowhere near the end. And don't you think, do you think it's coincidence that we're getting this attack on our mental health, on our encouragement, on our spirit, the very week leading up to the 250th birthday of our nation. You think that's coincidence? I don't think so. To quote Kevin McAllister. Nope. Lots. So we're going to break it down. I'm going to give you guys some perspective. I'm fired up today, even if my voice can't fully support how fired up I am. It's getting better every day, 5 to 10% better every day, but 5 to 10's not enough. I want 100% back, baby. I want to be able to be as fired up in my voice as I am in my spirit right now. Spent a lot of time, more than usual, the last 2 days going over just where we're at and processing, because guess what, guys? I get discouraged too. I have hard moments too. I have to reflect sometimes too and think, my God, this sucks. What does this mean? I listened to Tim Pool last night. He was crashing out, painting the bleakest picture possible. And it got to me a little bit. And I was like, what if Tim's right? Started thinking about it. And I was like, what am I doing? This is not what real men do. This is not how strong, good leadership responds to challenges. No, we rise up. Americans, we rise up. We fight. We look for every opportunity. We find the opportunity in every disappointment, in every setback. That's the American way. That's how we get through it. And you know who knows that better than anybody is President Trump. And that's why I support the man. That's why he inspires me. That's why I support him in so many ways, because there's always a way forward. There's always a way forward. So we need to remember that. And that is going to be a key theme in today's show as I break down where we're at, because I want to emphasize something. We wanted these rulings. We wanted birthright citizenship to be outlawed as the law of the land. We wanted mail-in ballots to no longer be counted after Election Day. We wanted. But I'll tell you what, nothing's changed. Do you understand? The last few decades, mail-in ballots have been allowed to come in late. The last few decades, people have been able to come here, pop out a baby, and be declared a citizen. That has been going on for a long time. So nothing has changed. Do you understand that? The only thing that's changed is your awareness of it, your desire, your hope that it was about to be changed. But as far as the fundamentals, nothing has changed. You understand? And if any of you guys thought it was going to be easy, I got a bridge to sell you. If any of you thought it was going to be no nonstop winning with no hiccups, no setbacks, no fighting back, I don't know what to tell you. That's not how it works. When you're against an opponent, no matter how far ahead you are, no matter how much momentum you have, how much bigger you are than they are, sometimes they land a punch. Sometimes they score a basket. Every once in a while, they squeak through and get that touchdown. I'm telling you, that's all this is. So, blackpilling, friends, is for the weak. It's for the weak-minded. It's okay to feel discouraged. It's okay to have a bad moment. It's okay to feel those emotions. But if you can't process those and come out ready to fight on the other end, ready to move ahead, ready to look for the opportunity, then you're in the wrong place, because we are not giving up. We are not giving up. We are not going back. In 2008, Barack Obama was elected president overwhelmingly. The guy is a full-on communist, deep state asset, Manchurian candidate. He swept into our presidency with 60 senators, filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. He got an overwhelming House majority. They were in full control of our country. If you think today we're worse off than we were then, I don't know what to tell you. Perspective matters. These rulings do not erase the last several years of wins we've had. They don't erase all the progress we've had. You understand? They don't. They are merely disappointments. We have a whole lot of work to do. That's all it reminds us. And sometimes a step back is a good reminder because it shows you, it reminds you of how much more we got to do so that you don't get complacent. And it also helps you see the target. So that's where we're at this morning, folks. We got a lot to get through. We're going to break it all down. We're not going to quit. This is nowhere near the end. This is nowhere near, in a couple months, few weeks, we're going to just look back on this and be like, whatever, that sucked. But hey, I think we were getting a little spoiled without having any major losses lately. And again, these are more losses on paper than in the real world. Does it mean that Democrats in blue states now will really push mail-in ballot measures to be more like California? Sure, that could happen. But they could have done that anyways. Does it change anything on the birthright citizenship aspect with illegals? Not at all. It's just more in the public purview. In fact, we're going to talk about how the Trump administration is already doing a lot and working towards limiting how these things can happen. So, I'm telling you guys, we're not even close. It's not even close to over. So, no black pilling allowed here. We're not doing that today. We're gonna focus on silver linings, the way to move forward, and how to win. Okay, because what they want you to do more than anything else is you quit. And I'll say this again. Anytime you quit, that's the only way you lose. That's the only way you lose. All right. Molly Cruel with a $10 super chat already. Thank you so much, Molly. Says you give good energy. That's why I keep coming back. Sorry you have to put up with me, but that's why I come to your channel. Hey, man. I am very appreciative of you. You're not annoying me at all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Axiom drop. If you think I'm coping and I don't actually see the problems, you're a retard. I'm sorry. I'm not holding back today, guys. I'll be full on mean. I'm not putting up with black pillars. I'm not putting up with stupid people who think that just because I'm optimistic means I don't see problems. Anybody who comes at me with this kind of shilling bull crap will be blocked. I don't care. The mods know who to block. I'm not putting up with this nonsense. So Axiom drop, if you're going to say anything stupid like that again, you're out. I'm not taking that BS. You're an absolute moron if you think that's how I look at stuff. Okay? And just don't even bother putting stuff in the chat towards me if you're not going to be open, if you're not thinking, if you're not a person who understands context, if you're not a person who can understand and has seen my other content and so has more than just one thing to say because you just showed up. So, I'm sorry, I don't do the trolls in the chat and I don't do the retards. But as yesterday proved for the whole last hour of my show when I did a lot of talk back and forth with people, questions and answers, a disagreement is allowed. Disagreement is welcome. I like to be challenged. I just like to do so in a way that is honorable and respectful. And if you're not going to respect me on my chat, I'm not going to respect you. I'm going to kick you out. I'm going to treat you exactly as you treat me. So that's what you get in this chat. This is why this is the best chat on YouTube. This is why this is the best community on YouTube, because we police the respect. We police the honor. We believe in cultivating relationship. We believe in treating people well. And you're not going to come in here and blast nonsense in my chat. Sorry, but this chat is not a free speech chat. This is my house, and I police my house. All right, guys. With that, we're still going to have fun because we always have fun because I'm actually in a good mood, even though I am fired up. I'm in a good mood. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're going to get started here in just a second. If you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat. Your super chats are guaranteed to be read and questions answered. If you also want to support the channel, other than that, you can join and be a member, get a free month, join the Discord, join the most amazing community on YouTube. It's in the chat, but this chat follows it onto the Discord. It's even better in there. So you can join in there, become part of the Discord, or you can join here on YouTube and get the members lives. Also, if you join Discord, you'll get the members lives as well. That way you can support the channel. I'm 100%. Well, okay. I can't say I'm 100% viewer supported because I do get some ad revenue from YouTube when they blast my ads on there, but the vast majority of the support of this channel is viewer supported. I don't have any sponsors. All right, let me get into the chat, say hey to some peeps, and then we're gonna get right into it because we have a lot to get into. All right, what's up here? Let's start with Rumble this morning. We got Don Julio, Maui Jimbo, Chrissy Katz holding it down over there, along with Lochtefeld. How you doing? He's doing today. And Don Julio says black pillars are pansies. I agree. Pixel Snaps here as well. What's up, Pixel? Here on, let's see. Here on YouTube, the tubes. Let's start at the beginning. We got Scott Volkovich, Bobby Girl, Kika, Gen X Maggot, Golden Code, Dadbod Todd, Shogun, Kika, Lisa Doxy, Living Positive, Andrew Thompson, Tammy Anderson, one of the many, Motley Cruel, Jay Tyrus, Jesus Saves, DJ Fusion, Daisy Trumpet, Case Shuey, Nick Majors, Foundation Preacher, what's up, man? Carnivore for Life, Saved by Grace, David Duke, David Davis, Look Within, what's up? US1 Tahoe, what's up, brother? Missed you, man. Mike D, Daisy Trumpet, Tammy Anderson, and so many others. Casink, good to see you guys. Thank you guys for joining and being here today. A couple comments I saw that stood out before we get going here. US1 says shut the border for 10 years. I mean, maybe shut the border forever and just make them always come in the hard way. I think we could do that, right? I'm okay with that. Let's see. Aw Dog says, stand up, tell the truth, don't judge, don't be a pooey. Make America great again. I love it. I love it. So good. Absolutely. Thank you, In the Zone. I appreciate you. Yep. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Thank you guys for the gifts. I see, let's see. Let 'em Cook from Maga Mally. Got Flow State from Okie Sooner. And what was the other one I saw? A couple other Flow States from Josephine. All right, thank you guys for that. And I think we're about to go. Togram says, why do retards want everyone to know they're retarded? Because part of being a retard means that you don't want to be alone. And so you got to make a big deal about it, got to let everybody know. That's, but that's like the Candace Owens of the world. They're loud and they're stupid. That's how it goes. So, all right, let's get into it today. I do see, and I want to say this as a broad blanket statement over the chat, just looking at you guys. You guys are amazing, and I can definitely tell that the vast majority of you guys have learned. You guys are white-pilled. You guys get it. You understand the fact that we always can win if we don't stop. And I love that about this chat. These are patriots in this chat. You guys are patriots. You're amazing. You guys know what it takes. And that's the strength we need to win, and that's why we'll win. Because there are millions of you guys in this nation, and in the Revolutionary War, Washington, Jefferson, those guys had about 30% of the nation on their side. 30% of the colonists. That's it. 3 out of 10. And they took that 30% and they built an army out of it, a very small, weak army, and they tackled the greatest empire in world history and took their nation back. So I got to tell you, if you think we're if you think we can't do this, man, the founding fathers would be ashamed of you. But that's not what I see here. That's not what I see here. I see people who would make our founding fathers proud. And I got to tell you, it's a lot more than 30% on our side these days. 50 to 60% of our nation wants things to turn around in the right way and is willing to stand up and do something about it. That's where we're at. That's a great awakening. And as, let's see, DJ keeps hitting me up here. It says, Trump has a plan. The black pill exists because Trump hasn't showed his Trump card yet. There's no reality where the deep state wins. Trust the process. I agree with you. The deep state can't win. But I will say the black pill is not just because Trump hasn't revealed stuff. The black pillars, blackpilling is a choice. And many people are going to black pill by choice no matter what Trump does, because it's a disease of the mind. And you have to overcome it in order to win. All right. You guys ready? Let me take a sip here. By the way, yesterday when I was sipping my drink, I saw a bunch of people be like, oh, don't drink soda. That's so bad for your voice. Don't do that. I'm not drinking soda. I'm drinking sparkling water. It's soothing to me. There's no sugar in this. There's no calories. There's no acid. It's just water with bubbles, and it's delicious, and it helps me. Just saying, okay? I know you guys are very worried about my health. I am getting better, okay? I have a super crunchy wife who is very health conscious, who makes me eat very well. I'm going to be okay, okay? I'm going to be okay. I never get sick, and now I've been sick twice in the last 6 weeks. So don't think this is the norm, folks. I don't think this is the norm. I'm just getting attacked. Something's going on. But I'm getting out of it. All right. Shogun like that. Shogun. My DEI hire like that. My DEI mod. All right. You guys ready? Like Mr. Miyagi, you guys ready to heal? Daniel-san. Give me your shoulder, Daniel-san. You guys ready? I just watched that with my daughter. Up my vitamin D. Arizona. I am somebody who sits outside. I'm outside probably 2 hours a day. And at least an hour a day, I'm sitting by my pool, shirtless, absorbing sunlight. No, I don't know anybody who gets more sun than me. That's not even a joke. Unless they're like landscapers who work outside all day. Other than that, nobody gets more sun than I do. I love the sun. I live in the sun. I want to be in the sun right now. All I want to do is be outside. I love it. Okay. I absolutely love it. So yeah, you don't have to tell me to get more vitamin D. My levels are out off the roof. Okay. Build Fire for Christ with a $5 super chat says, believers are not to have a spirit of fear. We live in faith. Amen, brother. Not only that, we don't have spirit of fear, but we are called to be hopeful in all situations. So that's why I'll never black pill. Okay. You guys ready? All right. Whew. Okay. So this morning we got the terrible news. Terrible news that we did expect, but unfortunately, even when you expect it, it doesn't help when you get it. And that is that the Supreme Court has seriously disappointed us for the second time in as many days. And that is today we got the ruling on birthright citizenship. And the birthright citizenship, as they have upheld it as if you can walk across the border, pop out a baby on your way over as soon as that foot crosses the line, and that baby is now a citizen. I'm not even joking. That's what the ruling says. It's insane. It makes no sense. The good news out of this, if there is to be any, as many people thought this would be a 7-2 ruling. It was 5-4 or 6-3, depending on how some people interpret one of the dissents, which means that there's an open challenge for it in the future. See, in the Supreme Court, unless the ruling is very strong majority, they often feel like they can revisit it in a few years with a newer Supreme Court. That's the one silver lining out of this. The other thing that is important to recognize is that this really doesn't change anything. We've been acting as if this is the law of the land for a long time. So I just want to make that clear. This doesn't change anything except for, and now it's put it in the public discussion, and we were hoping we'd get some sanity. But unfortunately, Barrett's and Roberts have done exactly what they did with the mail-in ballot order. They jumped ship. And so officially is that the Supreme Court ruled the 14th Amendment guarantees birthright citizenship to children born in the United States, including those whose parents are in the country unlawfully or only temporarily, striking down President Trump's executive order. The ruling is here, but there really isn't much to get into. There's nothing special. I will say that the Alito and Thomas offered very strong opposing orders. Now, here's a quick little breakdown from Tim Pool, who's very animated about this. And I'll tell you, Tim Pool is blackpilling bad right now. And I'm not blackpilling, but I do want to give you guys the way he sees it.
The court has stricken down the executive order on birthright citizenship. Trump loses. If you are from China and a Communist Party member, your child born in Guam can be president of these United States. Now, we're still waiting for the full breakdown. We do have, I believe we've got this right here for the official ruling. So let's. I'm going to copy this. We're going to copy it all, and I'm going to load it in and get a quick summary with our friend Claude over here to break it down, to give us the gist. This could be a narrow ruling. It's 194 pages. And Gorsuch, this is surprising. I thought it was going to go 7-2. Quick summary from our friend Claude. Supreme Court decision in Trump v. Barbara, a fractured ruling. 5-4. Whoa, wait, what? That's not 5-4. They said it was 6-3, right? What? Hold on. Oh, they have separate dissenting opinions. Wow. 5-4. Children born in the United States to parents who are unlawfully or temporarily present are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So this is a little bit more broad. And citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, get the clips out, get the tweets. You have no country. The court therefore affirms the injunction against executive order. Roberts wrote for the majority, joined by Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Jackson. There's Barrett, notably crossing the usual ideological lines. This is Kavanaugh concurs in judgment and dissents in part. Interesting. They're calling it 6-3. But why are we getting? Why is Claude telling me it's 5-4? Claude's always wrong, right?
Tim's nothing if not entertaining. And listen, I know a lot of people are critical of Tim. I think in general, Tim still does a good job of breaking down news stories. It's not always his opinions I agree with, but in general, he does a pretty good job staying on top of things. Now, Tim did say this, and I actually did not report this yesterday, and I should have. Last month, Amy Coney Barrett was swatted. What is a swatting? It's when you take somebody's address and you call it in as if there's a crime occurring that's an emergency. And so a SWAT team shows up to your house very violently, very aggressively, because they don't know if you've got a gun or not. They don't know what's happening. So they come in, and sometimes very dangerous things can happen with a SWAT team. It's very scary. It's one thing to have a cop show up at your door. It's another thing to have a SWAT team. So somebody was putting pressure on Barrett as of last month. This is pretty obvious. Now, Barrett and Roberts have now jumped against Trump 3 major times. Number 1 was with his tariffs. Now we have birthright citizenship and the mail-in ballots. This shouldn't surprise anybody, but it makes it more and more clear that Barrett and Roberts, because they are conservative most of the time, and we got a couple rulings to back that up here, except for when the things that could hurt the future of our country the most, the biggest shifts in our country, those are the ones they always jump ship on. Ask yourselves why. I think it's pretty obvious. But regardless, the pressure campaign was definitely on. And unlike people like Kavanaugh, Thomas, Alito, who have not caved to extreme pressure campaigns, Barrett and Roberts show that they are continually able to be gotten to. And I don't think that's even a question at this point. Why else side with the 3 insane liberal justices? It just makes no sense. Now, Alito and Thomas came out and they had some things to say about this today.
Back to Shannon, who's got more yet again. Shannon.
All right, this comes from Justice Alito, who brought this up during the arguments. This is his separate dissent. He said the court's interpretation also has national security implications. Suppose that a person's only connection to this country is that he was born here to a mother who was present just long enough to give birth and then quickly return to her native country. Suppose that country is a strategic adversary or enemy of the United States. Suppose the child never visited the United States while growing up and was inculcated with hatred of this country. According to this court now, that person is a citizen of the United States. He can enter and leave the country as he pleases. He can travel the world on a United States passport. Even if he plots to harm this country, he cannot be deprived of his status as a citizen, at least under current precedent. He goes on to say that this decision today also provides a powerful incentive to enter or remain in this country illegally. He goes on to say, in my judgment, the court has made a mistake that will seriously affect the country's future. So some very pointed dissents here from those who raised these very big concerns during the arguments. And they're real world scenarios, which are not a fantasy. They're not a movie. I mean, these things that can actually happen now under this ruling that you have today from the majority.
Alito, as usual, is right on. And then Thomas had his dissent as well.
Back to Shannon Bream for the view from Justice Thomas, who was a dissenter here. Shannon.
Yeah, in his dissent, he gets to that point, Bill, that you're making there. The 14th Amendment was enacted in the wake of the Civil War, quote, with the one pervading purpose of securing equal citizenship for the freed slaves. He writes, it was enacted, as Justice Harlan wrote, to secure to a race recently emancipated the civil rights that other citizens enjoyed. So Thomas has always been about that was the purpose of the 14th Amendment. He goes on to say that the court, meaning the majority now, has repurposed the 14th Amendment to protect its own set of preferred rights that the Reconstruction Congress never contemplated and that cannot find support in the text. Today, the court does so by recognizing a constitutional right to citizenship for the children of all foreign birth tourists and illegal aliens. Uses very specific language there. Again, Justice Thomas adhering and agreeing with the government's argument, with which they made here very passionately, that the 14th Amendment was about protecting the children of freed slaves and not what we've come to understand it as. You see his language there. He mentions birth tourism. It came up in the arguments, and clearly that's a very big concern of the dissenters. We also have dissents by Justice Alito and others, so we'll read those as well.
They're absolutely right. I mean, and listen, Thomas and Alito are national treasures, and we need 6, 7 of them on the Supreme Court. It's very difficult to get, as time has shown. We've had several Republicans appoint Supreme Court justices, and many have been extreme disappointments. It's kind of amazing that 2 out of 3 from Trump's have been great. Gorsuch and Kavanaugh have been pretty amazing. Barrett obviously is a big disappointment, and you know, Barrett got through barely at the end of Trump's first term, when the 2020 election had already been decided. He was a lame duck, and the deep state had taken back control. And so he did what he could. And people don't remember how hard it was to even get Barrett through. So, you know, you do what you can. It would have been Barrett, or Biden would have gotten to appoint 2 Ketanji Brown Jacksons. So context matters. Barrett sucks, but she sucks less than Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's just a fact. And we wouldn't have gotten other wins if she wasn't there. However, she continues to screw us on some of the things that matter most. But it's not all over. It's not all over. And President Trump shared this story today from Just the News. He shared this on his Truth Social account. And I think it's important to look at contextually here. It says Trump's efforts to reverse birthright citizenship may succeed with or without SCOTUS. And I want to go through a little bit here. This is John Solomon's paper. And it says Supreme Court's expected to rule Tuesday in Trump versus Barbara, which now we know they did. But let's go down to the bottom here. Several bills, most notably Birthright Citizenship Act, introduced by Babbitt and Lindsey Graham one day after Trump's inauguration in 2025, seek to end or sharply restrict automatic birthright citizenship by amending the Immigration and Nationality Act. These measures would reinterpret the 14th Amendment subject to the jurisdiction thereof clause. So that is one thing they're working on. Now, is it going to get through in this Congress? Probably not. The Senate is awful. They're awful. I'm just being honest with you guys. However, interesting things can happen after the midterms. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Now, the numbers here matter. Center for Immigration Studies estimates 225,000, 250,000 births to illegal immigrants occurred in 2023, 7% of total U.S. births. That's a lot of babies. Now, Trump is getting rid of a lot of these illegals, and so these numbers are going to go significantly down, even with this ruling. So, but that tells you where we were at. We were looking at about 225 to 250,000 people a year getting birthright citizenship. That's insane. Birthright tourism, which is a little bit less than you'd think based on how people are freaking out about it. But it was about 50 to 100,000 a year. That's still a lot. That's still a lot. Okay. It's terrible. There's 1,000 birth tourism companies. Now, one thing the Trump administration is doing, though, is cutting this down. They're closing down these companies. They're going after them. They're shutting it down. Basically, what this comes down to is that there are bills they're fighting to get this birthright tourism outed by some of the good senators. And surprisingly, Lindsey Graham is one of them on this. It could eventually happen because they based everything on the fact of what the Supreme Court based everything on the fact that it says jurisdiction of. And the Supreme Court just interpreted that as jurisdiction means, yeah, even if you're born here, you're under our jurisdiction, which is a crazy ruling, but whatever. Even if you're born to illegals, you're under the jurisdiction of. That's crazy, but that's what they just decided. And that's what's been the law for about, 100 years. So you change the definition of jurisdiction, the Congress can do that, and all of a sudden this goes away. So there's hope. The other hope is that right now they shut down, the deportations ramp up. The coming over of illegals is already basically zero. And you shut down all this birther tourism. You make it so a pregnant woman can't even come over here. There are ways to slow this down significantly. The problem is it only works as long as we still have a Republican in charge, or at least a strong MAGA type Republican. But there's hope is my point. There's hope. And one of the reasons there's hope is because this is in the populace face now. This has been, guys, my whole life growing up, the idea of birthright citizenship was just a given. We didn't even think twice about it. That's just what it was. So think about how far we've come since then. Now most Americans are against it. We're starting to stand up. The tide is turning. Eventually, I don't believe this will last forever. I don't. But it might be a 50-year fight like Roe v. Wade. It might be a 5-year fight. It might happen next year. We might get a MAGA Congress. We might sweep the midterms. Who knows? But the point is there's hope. And if you give up hope, you're in a bad place. Now, here are some of the reasons I have hope. Ron DeSantis, who I got to say, guys, I think DeSantis is starting to set himself up for a presidential run. And this time might be different. Especially if J.D. Vance steps down. I think DeSantis and Rubio would be a very interesting primary. But we'll see. And I don't mean step down for vice president. I mean step down from running. But Governor DeSantis is very strong on the immigration issue. He just came out and fired back a group of Florida GOP sheriffs asking Trump to slow down mass deportations. Here is DeSantis. And by the way, this isn't just DeSantis. This is many red state governors. This is spreading, okay? Trump has started something. It's not the end. Trump is not the end of this movement. This is the beginning. Listen.
When it comes to immigration, one size doesn't fit all. Where do you stand on that?
I stand with following Florida's policies, which has said you can't have a situation where Biden can bring in 10 million people and then we're not allowed to remove them back to their home country. This idea that unless you're an axe murderer, you should be able to stay, that is not consistent with our laws, and it's also not good policy. You know, we have different people that are victimized by illegal aliens every day in this country. Not all of them have criminal records at the time. In fact, probably most of them don't. But under some view, it's like, okay, yeah, you come illegally, and then you stay until you commit a really violent crime. That just doesn't work. It's incoherent. It's not what the president ran on. And so to send a letter to him asking him to go back on his campaign policies, I would not advise that to be done. I think the way that we've done it in Florida is a whole host of things, but working with the federal government to help bring more removals to bear when they had limited resources. They have more resources now because they got an influx of money. And you'll be seeing some of that, I think, in play in Florida as well as up across the country.
I got to say, I've been very skeptical of DeSantis since he primaried Trump. But more and more, I'm thinking he made a mistake. I think he believed the establishment wing of the Republicans who came over to him and were like, trust us, we will back you and you can beat Trump. Trump's done. He has no future. And I think DeSantis, riding high from his massive 2022 reelection, where he won reelection by 20 points, I think he was thought to himself, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to go for it. And he got bad advice and he believed it and he got humbled big time. And I've been skeptical of DeSantis ever since, but I'm telling you, he's batting almost 1,000 since Trump came back. And I'm starting to think he saw the light and he realized the error of his ways. And I'm at the point now where I'm not against DeSantis running again if Vance or Rubio don't run. So we have a bench, guys. We have 3 awesome people. And, this man he's fighting he's been fighting establishment Republicans at every turn. They just abolished property tax in Florida because of DeSantis leading the charge. They just redistricted Florida because of DeSantis leading the charge. He has proven himself time and time again. So I'm going to still watch him carefully the next couple of years. Don't get me wrong, but he's starting to win me back. And, his governorship has just been too strong for me to ignore. So we'll wait and see. But the other thing we got to wait and see is who backs him, because that will be a big tell. Regardless, what he's saying here is absolutely right. Now, Seth Keshel, who is always great at this stuff, comes up to say the only solution for this is to make it so difficult to get in here it's next to impossible to have an anchor baby. And that's exactly what Trump, DeSantis, and MAGA Republicans are planning on doing. So, again, there's hope. There's always a way to fight back despite how bad it looks. Regardless, we did get some other wins today, and this is important. We have to celebrate the wins even when we take on losses. Today, the Supreme Court upheld the laws against trans kids in sports, at least identifying with their chosen gender. It's a big win. It's a massive win for the culture war. It's a massive win for women, especially young girls who've been getting hurt by these kids, getting their medals taken away, their records taken away. This is a big deal. As a father of 4 daughters, I'm very happy they did this. And it was 6-3 and overwhelming decision. So this now changes the course. Red states now, who might have been afraid of it being overturned or challenged, all can put in laws, and this becomes a thing where we just had a big win that'll sweep the nation. So again, it's not all bad. And then we got this, and this one's a little more nuanced, but very interesting. In a 6-3 vote, Supreme Court struck down federal limits on how much political parties can spend in coordination with their own candidates. Ruling restrictions violate the First Amendment, overruling its 2001 decision, Colorado Republican 2. Why is this a big deal? And now I know there's going to be some people who are like, campaign finance, oh my God. No, limit them, get money out of politics. Well, if you watch this show, we have demonstrated many times, money doesn't win elections, but it can tip some over. And the thing is here, the people who want to control the spending are the losers. They're the people who know they can't compete, and so they want it all equal, mostly speaking as Democrats. The Democrats have long wanted this to be limited, and some even want the government to fund it, which means if you apply to be president, to be a nominee for president or Congress or whatever, the government would tell you, okay, here's 100,000, here's 100,000, that's all you guys get. Well, what if one candidate's much better and many people want to give them money? That is now taken away. That's what the Democrats want. Thankfully, the Supreme Court has overruled this. This is very good for Republicans going forward. This means they can get out their message more, they can push harder, and Democrats often get more money because they do it shady. But the Republicans, who tend to follow the law a little more, this gives them equal footing now where we can compete better. So it's a big win. Trump calls this one out. Supreme Court just took restrictions off political spending. Big win for Republicans, and more importantly, the First Amendment. So Trump is very happy about this one. And it's funny because we're all upset over mail-in ballots and birthright citizenship. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But I got to tell you, I think Trump expected these, and he's more focused on the wins, especially the one we got yesterday where Trump now can fire all the bureaucrats. And I got to tell you guys, they're squeaming over there over this one. Barb McQuaid says, a slaughter case overturning precedent returns us to a spoils system where a president can clean house every 4 years, destroying our professional independent civil service. Democrats are very mad. Why? Well, they're very mad because this is how they keep power. This is how they undermine presidents. They create a massive bureaucracy of unelected bureaucrats and officials who could not be fired, whose positions could not be removed by the president. And those people would stay there, president after president after president. And it would just keep getting bigger and keep fighting. And I got to tell you, this means the house can be cleaned. And you got to understand, that is their biggest power. It's also where they get most of their money. It's a nonstop slush fund for Democrats in high positions. Now, this case that got turned yesterday is a massive one. And Trump was very happy about it. Now, here's some interesting insights. Legitimate and weighty questions from Gorsuch in Trump versus Slaughter concurrence. Bottom line, the branches haven't done what they're supposed to do and have done way more than they're supposed to do. People, they don't want you seeing this, guys. They don't want you seeing this. They want you focused on the mail-in ballots, which sucks, but it was already happening. They want you focused on birthright citizenship, which is terrible, but was already happening. Those things didn't change anything. This does. This is a massive change and a massive win. It means they have to start over because now Trump, instead of them keeping those people in power and coming back into power and just having those same people working with them again, they have to restart every time. This is a very good thing for slowing down the regulation state. Gorsuch writes, to fulfill his constitutional duty, meaning Trump, to ensure the laws are faithfully executed, the court holds president must have the ability to remove principal officers who exercise executive power in his name. That includes those who run independent agencies like the Federal Trade Commission. With all this, I agree. But I can't ignore the implications that follow. Today, independent agencies don't just exercise executive law enforcement powers. Congress delegated them vast legislative and judicial powers, effectively allowing these agencies to make laws and decide disputes under them. And after today's decision, the president can effectively exercise all those powers too. That's a big deal. It's a development that raises important questions, not least these. Would Congress have delegated so much power, including legislative and judicial power, to independent agencies had it known president would come to control them? Let me read that one again. Would Congress have delegated so much power, including legislative and judicial, to independent agencies if it knew the president would come to control them? In other words, Gorsuch just called out Congress for for creating a bunch of agencies that could undercut the president's power. Would they have done that if they knew the president would get this power? I'm guessing no. He calls them out, and now they lost it. How will Congress respond now if it can? And what, if anything, will this court do about it? Very interesting. The court has ruled all this power is now the president's. Oh, buddy. Here's a great breakdown on what just happened. Cynical Publius writes this: Trump versus Slaughter, disempowering the Leviathan. The American left is predictably outraged by the SCOTUS decision today in Trump versus Slaughter. Why? It neuters their primary power base. You guys been blackpilling? Who's blackpilling? Holy smokes. This is great news. Great news. The unelected, bureaucratic, tyrannical Leviathan of the federal administrative state, the same cabal that decides for us what kind of light bulbs we're allowed to own, what kind of medical care the average American is allowed to have when we get old. Democrats are basically claiming this case allows the president to fire any federal employee, reinstating the spoil system, but that's not true. It's a comparatively narrow holding, allows the president to fire some FTC commissioners and the heads of similar independent agencies at will for policy or political reasons. Rank and file federal employees are still protected by Civil Service Reform Act, but that doesn't matter as much. It is not entirely unreasonable to see Trump versus Slaughter as a first step in serious precedents, giving broader powers over all federal employees. If you took American Government 101 as a college freshman, you may remember being taught the spoil system was a horrible tragedy. We'll jump ahead here because we don't need to get into that too much. So maybe the civil service was actually a good idea when instituted. Maybe it really was professional once. Maybe it was apolitical once. Maybe it really was independent once. Maybe. According to Grok, in 1883, the entire non-military federal workforce consisted of approximately 130,000 employees. Imagine that. We're now over 2 million. We ballooned over 20 times in 140 years. 1883, there's no federal income tax. Today, the federal marginal income tax is the top 37. There's no federal government employee unions. Today, they're one of the most powerful organizations in society. Most importantly, over 90% of federal employee union campaign contributions go to Democrats. It's a slush fund. So let's tie those facts together, shall we? Supposed independent federal workforce almost exclusively supports Democrats. Their union collects dues paid for by tax dollars of productive capitalist Americans. Those tax dollars are then given to Democrat campaigns. Then those same elected Democrats reach in the bottomless pit of American income tax collections to give money and more benefits. Federal employees and the Democrats scratch each other's backs, and those of us who actually create wealth suffer and pay the price, all while the same privileged, unelected federal employees endlessly create new tyrannical rules that burden our daily lives with unneeded, often unconstitutional rules and regulations. Firing them is virtually impossible. It's the Leviathan. Democrats claim this will reinstate the spoil system. What they ignore is in 2026, the only spoil system is the permanent one of Democratic Party. What Trump versus Slaughter does is restore voter accountability to our federal government. Those unelected bureaucrats can no longer wield power against the electorate unchecked. Democrats claim to love democracy. All Trump versus Slaughter does is restore democracy, which is why Democrats hate it. I'm telling you, this is a win. Massive win. But they don't want you focused on this, do they? We got another win. This one hasn't been decided yet, but it possibly could be huge. Supreme Court will hear RNC's case defending Arizona's requirement to show proof of citizenship when registering. If the Supreme Court holds this up, it could start, theoretically, depending on the ruling, making voter ID a thing, at least a proof of citizenship to even get a ballot. That's a big win. It's a big win. This won't be decided till next year. However, it's going to be heard, so we're going to get something on that. It's not all losses, guys. Now, in all this, some fake news came out today. NPR posted an article that Alito was going to retire. Except the problem is he's not. Why would they post this? They wanted to really, really disenfranchise you today. They really wanted to discourage you. Several people have already picked up this news and are running with it. The problem is they've already taken down the headline. They've already issued a correction. But why? Ask yourself why. This means they had this ready to go. They dropped it right after the birthright citizenship case. Today was an all-out attack on MAGA, guys. An all-out attack to freak you out, to discourage you, to scare you, to make you think it's all going to fall apart. There's no other explanation for this. This is an outright lie. Isn't crazy? But it's a lie, and it's already been retracted. Now, ask yourself, what are you going to do about all this stuff? I love this from Ben Dindilly. He says, I refuse to panic over any SCOTUS decision. I don't give a F. We're getting our country back one way or another. Absolutely. That's the attitude we need to have. I know mail-in ballots is very discouraging because California, we're watching it right now, how those mail-in ballots are stealing an election from Spencer Pratt, or stole it, I should say. Actually, I can't say that yet because it hasn't been certified, but they're stealing it. They took Steve Hilton out of the running. It's pretty much all but guaranteed now that California's law on this can stand. And so there's pretty much no hope for Steve Hilton to win in November at this point. Other states may adopt that. That's very discouraging. It sucks. We don't want that. But they could have adopted them anyways. It's just kept what already was. There's other ways to win this. The Postmaster General has already told Trump that he in the Senate, he's not going to deliver ballots to those states who don't deliver their voter rolls. Interesting. Voter rolls are the cleanup. You can't deliver ballots if you're not on the voter roll. That's some of the laws that still protect us. That's kind of they've been inflating the voter rolls, not taking people off for decades in order to inflate them so they have cover for sending out more ballots. You remove that cover, you make it much more difficult. There are things happening that can make this better, even though, not going to lie, Supreme Court, if they'd ruled correctly, would have helped us immensely. But it doesn't mean we're going to lose. It just means the battle is still a little bit harder. We're staying in hard mode. You understand? But we were in hard mode in 2024, guys. We were in hard mode. They had all these options available to them. The Democrats were fully in charge in 2024. And guess what? We swept every swing state, took the Senate overwhelmingly, well, not overwhelmingly, but strongly, 53 to 47. We held the House against all odds. We did that in 2024. Guess what? The environment's even better now. The Voting Rights Act was struck down. We have redistricting on our side. That has helped. The Trump administration is now in charge, enforcing voter roll cleanup. Several voter rolls have been cleaned up in many states. That is a good thing. The USPS is saying it won't deliver mail-in ballots in states that don't deliver voter rolls. That is a win. Guys, it is better now than it was in 2024 when we won. So if you're blackpilling, stop it. We're winning still. We are moving forward. Don't give up. Don't quit. Don't cry. It's going to be okay. Nothing has changed. We just wanted more. Rightfully so. But nothing's changed. As far as birthright citizenship, nothing's changed. That's the way the country's been operating for 100 years. You know what is different? We have our focus on it now. The Trump administration can limit it through many other immigration practices and already is. Governors like DeSantis are standing up and enforcing their own borders as well. Governor Abbott, who I'm no fan of, but still, he's doing decent on the border. He's got some things that are good. Other MAGA governors are rising. And guess what? The primaries are proving us we own the Republican Party. We are growing in the Republican Party. They can't stop us. We are taking them down. In this last primary, Trump took out 3 Rhino Republicans who are incumbents. Guess what? In our entire history, that has never happened. We are winning. Oh, and a 4th one is taken out because they chose not to run, and Tom Tillis. We're winning, guys. Do not let these decisions make you think we're losing. Don't crash out like Tim Pool. Here's a good reminder of how you should approach these things. Look back to our founding. 250 years ago, on June 29th, 1776, New Yorkers looked out at the water and saw a nightmare on the horizon. The British fleet had arrived. So many ships filled the bay. Witnesses said the mass looked like a forest of pine trees growing out of the sea. The timing could not have been more brutal. This was the Empire's answer to the rebellion, and it was overwhelming. The first wave of around 45 warships and transports dropped anchor off Sandy Hook and Staten Island, carrying General William Howe and roughly 10,000 troops. Within days, it kept growing. Then his brother, Admiral Richard Howe, arrived with more. It would eventually swell into one of the largest seaborne invasion forces of the entire 18th century. Hundreds of ships and tens of thousands of professional soldiers and German mercenaries aimed at one city. Now, in this timing, while the forest of mass filling the harbor, delegates sat down in Philadelphia, were in the final days of debating whether to declare independence. They voted for on July 2nd and signed off on July 4th, with all against them. At the exact moment America was being born on paper, the most powerful military on earth was already anchored off its coast, getting ready to strangle in the cradle. The people of New York understood exactly what they were seeing. Alarm bells rang, panic spread through the streets. Soldiers sprinted to their posts to stare at a force they had almost no hope of matching. Washington's army was outnumbered, outgunned, and about to get badly beaten in the battles for New York that followed. That's the part that gets lost in the fireworks every 4th of July. Independence wasn't declared from a position of strength. Let me say that again. Independence was not declared from a position of strength. It was declared with an enemy armada already sitting on the doorstep, knowing full well what was coming. They signed their names anyways. Hey guys, who's blackpilling? Who's blackpilling? Our founding fathers certainly didn't. Who do you want to be like? Do you want to be like the weak? Those who cowered under the Brits coming, who ran? Think how they felt at that moment. There's no hope. We've lost everything we fought for. It's all going to fall apart. Nonsense. A few brave men inspired 30% of a nation, and we won. Guess what, guys? We can do that again. As Thomas Paine once wrote, if there must be trouble, let it be in my day, so my child may have peace. Good thought, isn't it? Would you rather it happen to you so you can do something about it, or do you want to leave it to your kids, your grandkids? I, for one, I'm ready for this fight, and I'm not scared, and that's why I'm going to keep showing up every single day, and I'm never, ever going to blackpill. And neither is Stephen Miller and the people in charge of our government. By the way, they're much more like our founding fathers than pretty much everybody else out there, even on our side.
You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic. We built the world that we inhabit now. We are the ones who lift up humanity. We have beauty, we have light, we have goodness, we have determination, we have vision, we have strength. We will make you proud. We will finish the job. We will defeat the forces of darkness and evil, and we will stand every day for what is true, what is beautiful, what is good. And we will achieve victory for our children, for our families, for our civilization, and for every patriot who stands with us. God bless you. God bless our heroes. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Amen. You guys ready? You have no idea how determined we will be to save this republic. There it is, guys. This is President Trump's number one advisor. Number one advisor. This is who Trump trusts the most. In other words, this is exactly how President Trump feels as well. So, stop blackpilling, stop dooming, take the hits like a man, take it like a woman. That doesn't sound right. I'm trying to be equal opportunity here. that sounds terrible. But stand up, guys. We got this. We are winning on so many fronts. Don't let a couple bad rulings ruin your vision. Don't let a couple bad rulings ruin your resolve. The wins are here. The right people are in charge. The right people are behind them. We're going to do this. We're going to do this, and we are not letting them come back. We just got a little more of an uphill battle than we thought. But you know what? No matter how bad things are for us, guys, it's nothing compared to what these guys faced on the 4th of July, 250 years ago, when this nation, the greatest nation in world history, was born because a bunch of great men and great women behind them stood up and said, we are going to build something against the most powerful empire in history, and we're going to win. It's worth fighting for. And they got us here. We're nowhere as close to as big a hole as they were in. And so nobody gets the doom pill. Nobody gets the black pill. As for the weak, if you're black pilling, you don't deserve this nation. That's a fact. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to win. That's what we're going to do. All right. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. We got a lot more to get into today. So this is just the beginning. But we're going to get into it. We are going to get into it. But first, let me get into the chat. Definitely saw some super chats come in, so I want to address these first. Super chats. We got Illustrate Life. $5 super chat says, new here. If they offer people free stuff, get elected, overthrow government, kill millions, bring in dictator, rinse and repeat, could it happen here? We are so far from that. I'm not even going to think about it. Could it happen? I mean, anything can happen. Will it happen? No. I'm going to say 100% no, because we're not going to let it happen. Accor America Blogspot with 5,000 something. I don't know what denomination that is. That'd be cool if it was dollars, but I'm not expecting that. Hi, not U.S., but the right in most places are too straightforward. Politics about cunning and scheming, which should not only be for the left. I disagree with you. I think that sometimes the right pulls its punches too much. Trump has proven that if you don't pull your punches, you win. And we've been waiting for a breath of fresh air like Trump for a long time. But thank you for the donation. I greatly appreciate it. And he follows it up with one more. It says, there's no justice in life. Keep what you negotiate, force, or steal. Court rulings are just a reflection of current power map. I'm going to disagree with you again there. There is justice if you're willing to fight for it. It just might not always happen on your timeline. But don't give up. Never give up. I've seen it too much to believe that. But I do appreciate you weighing in and being honorable and agreeable in your disagreements. Thank you for that very much. I did not say Tim Pool is a doomer. I said he was dooming over this. Last night, he was big time blackpilling. I'm sorry. I listened to it. I know it for a fact, but that's okay if you're disagreeing with me. But I respectfully disagree. He was majorly blackpilling last night. I will say that somebody else asked me, we're like, why are you being like people who disrespect or disagree with you? Why are you being mean to them? I'm not mean to them. I'm mean to the people who are mean to me. They teach me how to treat them. Let me put it that way. Let's say, I don't see any guys, remember, if you want to get my attention, please tag me so I can see it. The chat moves so fast, I can't read everything. Carson Brownie, $5 super chat says, I'm so ready for 250. God bless America. We got this, boy. I love it. That's so good. Boy. I completely agree, Carson. I'm actually going to be in DC for the 250th. I'm very excited. It's going to be crazy, but I'm excited. TJ says, imagine a show based on Trump versus Deep State and what really happened behind the scenes of Trump 1.0 and 2.0, making it based on fictional characters. You should. I think that would be very interesting. I really do. Genghis Khan with a gift. What was that? That was a gold coin. Thank you very much, Genghis. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Crowd's amazing today. Next, we need to get into the there's a lot of good news for the midterms, but first, well, we got stuff to get into, but Freenez with the $5 super chat says, I stopped listening to Temple a long time ago because he dooms so much. I can't deal with hearing his negativity and volatility. You know, I don't blame you. He does get very black-pilled sometimes. He does go on very scary tangents. But I've learned with Tim, he usually regathers himself. I definitely have disagreements with Tim. I do think he does a generally good job of interpreting the news and giving context. I do think he does that. And I will say that I don't watch Tim as much as I used to, but good Lord, there's so few good people out there to listen to that Tim is one of the people I still check in with. I don't think Tim is completely controlled opposition. He never went with the Podcast to Stand group, even though he does know some of them and call them friends. And so I think Tim is independent and honest broker. But yes, I don't like when he dooms out. I really don't. John asks, what's my friend Steve Kuhn's site regarding open elected seats? Honestly, I feel terrible. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Go to his webpage or his Facebook. You'll find it. Let's see here. Alucard Rule says, I'm not feeling hopeless, just angry and bloodlusted. Mike D, if Bruce Blakeman wins New York governor, can he remove Mamdani from office? I don't believe he could unless he's got like corruption charges or something like that. Ian Burlingame's a black pill doomer. You know, I don't know. I think EM is hopeful. I just think that he thinks the only way to do it is through blood. I don't agree with that. With EM, but I'm still, you know, I watch EM very carefully because he definitely says some stuff. I'm like, that's interesting, but he also does a lot of good stuff. So I don't know, but overall, I generally like EM. I would love to talk to him. I really would. Okay. Anything else? I'm talking about EM Burlingame, Jay, not Ian, not Ian on Tim. No, Tim didn't start with InfoWars. Tim started with Vice Media when he was a Democrat. And then he kind of woke up and he started doing independent media. And people like Alex Jones gave him a platform. Joe Rogan gave him a platform. And then he built his own thing. He was never an employee of InfoWars, as far as I know. Janet 6474, $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, as a woman whose sixth generation grandfather signed the Declaration of Independence, I so appreciate your cheerleading as a patriot and as a Christian man. Your voice is necessary in these difficult days. Thank you, Janet. That means the world to me. That's why I do this. People like you coming out and saying stuff like that means a lot to me. I would love to know who was your great grandfather who signed, if you don't mind telling us. That would be amazing. I don't might give away something you don't want to give away for your name, so you don't have to, but I would love to know. There's nothing we can do about the birthright stuff right now, a la carte, except keep fighting. Keep fighting. All right, you guys ready? Let's get into it. Rob G, are you serious? You better be joking about this supporting slavery thing, or else I'm going to block you because I'm not taking any of that nonsense here. Slavery is an abject evil. Abject evil. So you're either partnering with complete and utter evil or you're racist. And I'm not going to stand for any of that in my chat. So if I see you see one more thing promoting slavery, you're done. You will never comment on my channel again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Ian said, Dan the Man Green says, Ian says a lot of dumb things and Tim says a lot of anxiety-inducing things. That is completely true. I'm going to show you a clip from Tim last night, dooming, where he induced anxiety in me a little bit. But I think it's important to watch because it's an interesting perspective. Because and we'll talk about it actually when we're done. But as far as Ian saying dumb things, you're 100% right. Ian chimes in and says the most ridiculous stuff, and I'm just like, what the hell did he just say? Ian is a very interesting person. Let me put it that way. I bet he'd be great to hang out with, though. I have a feeling Ian is a very fun person to hang with, but that he is so crazy. He says the dumbest things ever. Oh, Katie Cat with a $20 super chat says, this is for your 4th of July trip. Thank you, Katie. I am so excited for my trip with my kids. So for those who don't know, I am leaving on Thursday to take my oldest 4 kids up to Washington, D.C., to give them a taste of history, to let them experience the 4th of July in a way that they can tell their grandkids about. That I was in Washington, D.C. and saw President Trump speak on the 250th anniversary of our nation. That is irreplaceable. That's worth fighting the crowds for. So I'm taking them up there. I'm staying 3 nights because Friday we're going to tour the fair, and then 4th of July we're going to do all the 4th of July stuff. But I'm very excited for it, and it is expensive. So Katie, I'm so grateful for you and your help in helping me get this all figured out. But yeah, I am very excited. This is one of those things where you're just like, damn the cost, we're going, because this is history in the making. So because of that, there will be no live on Friday. However, I will have a video at the time I usually go on. And I'm putting together some special for you guys. And then on Thursday, I will not be at my usual time. I will not be on at noon. I will be on at 10 a.m. I'm going to go early on Thursday so I can do my show and then we can take off because I have a 5.5 hour drive ahead. So that's just some information for you guys. I'm very excited to do this for my kids and for me. I love the history, and you guys are I'm so appreciative to all you guys. I really am. This audience, listen, I am user supported. I'm not wealthy. I'm not even close. Okay. If you guys knew, I basically live paycheck to paycheck. It's not paycheck because it is my own business, but I live payment to payment. Let me put it that way. And YouTube does not make you rich. Now, if once you get to 1 million followers, that's different. But where I'm at, I just do enough to get by. And I'm very blessed to do that. I get to do something I love. But yeah, it's you guys who support me, and I'm so grateful to you. But yeah, and because of that, I get to take off and go to Washington, D.C. this weekend with my kids. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to, for members, I'm going to have some quick little lives from D.C. on the ground. And so if you want to jump in with that, if you want to get some extra little short members lives this weekend, get in the membership. Get in the Patreon right now in the description. Click that link. Get a free month so you can watch the lives for free. Matrix 5310 with a $100 super chat. My God, thank you so much. Says happy 4th. Hope you have fun in DC. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. That is very, very. I mean, I just talked about it, but I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. $5 super chat from Janet's. Says William Ellerly of Rhode Island. In the picture, he's a short gentleman standing in the doorway of the signing of the Declaration. What? Okay, hold on. This picture? What'd you say? Short gentleman standing in the doorway? Right here? That's not Franklin? Or is it over here? That's amazing. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that, Janet. Bobby Girl, the $10 super chat. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. That is really cool. Missy, what is your deal? My God. What is your problem? What are you talking about? Making an enemy of Tim Pool? I love Tim. My God. Are you serious right now? Jeez Louise. Missy, maybe you should just go be with Timmy, your lover. I don't know why you'd be so upset about me, what I said about Tim, which is completely fair, especially after I show you guys this. But my God. Ryan Lynn with the $100 super chat says Ace and the family have a wonderful time in DC, 4th of July. Man, Ryan, dude, are you serious? You guys are, listen. You guys are going to make me do the Wayne's World thing. I promised myself I wouldn't cry. This is like I'm very like flattered by you guys. Seriously, this is amazing. Daniel Frame with a $20 super chat says, I'll give you 20 for the DC trip. You guys are awesome. Thank you. You guys just bought dinner and lunch for me and my kids. Thank you so much. And maybe I can buy them an extra MAGA hat now or something like that. But thank you guys. Really, I really appreciate it. You guys are so nice. I love you guys. All right. I am going to get into the show, but again, every super chat will be read, and any questions asked, I will do my best to get to. So I just want you guys to know, if you send one while I'm in the segment, I will make sure you still get a shout out. Okay. But I do got to get on with the show. I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh man, we just doing this the whole time. No, we're not. But listen, these people are amazing. And, everyone who sent a super chat, I'm so grateful to you. You guys are the absolute best. And you guys just made my trip even better. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Let's get into it, shall we? So with the midterms ahead, yesterday, we had the mail-in ballot order come down from Supreme Court. Tim Pool, he went to the darkest place possible on this order as I listened to him the last 2 days. But I do want to share what he says because he does a very good job of breaking down just how egregious this ruling was by Amy Coney Barrett, her opinion. And so listen to Tim on this.
A country that allows ballots to be casted after an election has already ended does not have elections. Elections are defined by Cambridge as a time in which votes are cast to elect or appoint an individual for the purposes of representation. If there is no time frame, and further, Barrett argues certification of these individuals may happen at the leisure of these states. This means that at any point and for any reason, the Democratic states or even red states can just have an election. Indeed. They can, I guess the only argument that Barrett makes is you can't, well, no, actually, it doesn't make sense. I think Barrett's argument is effectively you can pull and remove anybody from Congress or the president or anywhere, any point, because there is no election at all. Suffice it to say, my friends, Barrett and the majority argue there's actually no such thing as an election at all. The logic behind these arguments ends with a single conclusion. We don't have to have elections at all. We can have them whenever we want. And the end result is quite simple. The right and the left will be further torn apart. Hyperpolarization will get worse. And I think the reality here is that Barrett, being effectively the one to flip, because we knew Roberts would kind of go in this direction, she is effectively saying, please don't hurt me. Burn the country down. Kill everyone if you please, just don't hurt me. Which seems to be Barrett's through line, I suppose. Now, she's had some very strong conservative rulings, but over the past year or so, or a couple of years, she's very much been deferential. And the Supreme Court has been, well, it's been pretty weird. Trump's got some tremendous victories, don't get me wrong, but it seems that there is no congruent ideology.
He's pretty much right on everything he said. And that is the hardest part of the ruling, is that basically Coney Barrett affirmed the fact that election day doesn't really mean much. And this is what the Democrats have already been doing. They've already been treating it like that. And instead of undoing their insanity, Amy Barrett, she upheld it. Now, again, I want to make the point that this was already happening. Okay. And this is why I'm not dooming over this ruling. It sucks. I hate it. I was very hopeful it'd be overturned. I was shocked when it wasn't. This one is so freaking obvious. But again, there was a pressure campaign on Barrett and Roberts. They caved. You guys can argue where that came from. Maybe they're deep state actors, City of London. Amy Coney Barrett was swatted last month. So do the math. One way or the other, they turned on something that's very obvious, which is the fact that it says election day. But this is what's important. We've already faced this enemy. In 2024, we won with the Democrats in charge of our entire government. And they don't believe election day is a day. They do whatever they can to win. We still won. That is very important to remember, folks. Do not forget that. And so as long as we keep fighting, we will win. What they want you to be is discouraged. They want you to think this changes things. They want you to doom. But I got to tell you what, the reason they want this so bad right now is because they are losing. They are on the ropes. They are the ones dooming. And I'll show you why in a minute, despite this ruling. But first, this is why we must fight. Because if we ever let them back, it's game over.
And one more point on this, Laura. This is existential for this country. You've covered more than anybody. When the Democrats, should the Democrats regain power, it's game over. 12 more justices on SCOTUS, 2 new Democrat states. They're going to get rid of the Second Amendment. They're going to get rid of our borders. They're going to get rid of our police. They're going to get rid of ICE, Border Patrol, DHS, and they're going to elect communists, like actual communists, Laura, not even socialists, communists, who will wreck this country.
Now, I want to move back.
And one more point
He's
on this,
100% right. That's what we face if we lose. So guess what, guys? You don't have the option of blackpilling. You don't have the option of dooming. You got to show up, and we have to fight because there is no backwards opportunity. Now, if you guys watched my last segment, I compared it to the vast odds the founding fathers faced in setting our country forward, and they won. This is nothing even close to that because we're still in power. Now, Trump is giving us the weapon of exposure. Because last week when the Democrats won and the commies took over the Democrats in New York and took over New York effectively, we got to see who they really are. And this is a good thing. It's going to help us win. Because now we're not fighting Democrats. We're actually fighting the communists. And that is a much stronger messaging, much more galvanizing for the people to go out and vote and fight. And Trump is hammering this home.
Well, I think it's a big threat to our nation, actually, because it's not socialism, it's really communism. They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about. I think it's the biggest threat to our nation there is, maybe since our founding. That includes World War I, World War II, September 11th. It includes the Pearl Harbor attack. I think this is the biggest threat to our nation. People will smile when I say that, but the smart people are going to say, you know, he's probably right. It's basically introducing communism into the United States of America. There's never been anything so dangerous. Well, I think it's a big threat to our nation.
There's never been anything more dangerous. And he's right. You know why he's right? Because this one's coming from within. The difference, though, and the reason, Trump didn't say this is the worst scenario we've ever been in. He just said this is the biggest danger we've faced. We've been in worse scenarios. We've had options when we didn't have as much power, when we didn't have the electorate behind us. And I'm telling you, this is masterful because we are in the driver's seat this time as long as we don't take our foot off the gas. And look at how the Democrats feel right now. Remember, if you're confused about where you're at, the enemy, they will teach you. They will give you a good idea. This goes all the way back, and you can go back to the Bible where Gideon was very terrified against this enemy he was about to face. And so you know what God did? He said, go to the enemy's camp. And so he went and spied on the enemy's camp, and he overheard them saying, Gideon's armies will destroy us. And that galvanized Gideon, gave him the faith he needed to win. Well, this is our spying on the enemy's camp right now. Mark Halperin reports, I talked to quite a few moderate Democrats very concerned about the rise of socialism in their party. Here's the spiciest quote. Chevalier from New York is our David Duke. She's poisoning the possibility of a Democratic majority. That sounds like fear, guys. That sounds like they're freaking out. Here's Joe Manchin responding to the fact 62% of Democrats prefer socialism. This is Joe Manchin, moderate Democrat, former long-term senator for West Virginia.
Let me just tell you that 47% of the people identify themselves as independents. They have to take, and all of you on your shows talk about independence because independence is where you win or lose elections.
But 62% of Democrats say they prefer socialism over capitalism.
If they do, then by God, there's not a Democratic Party left. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It's true.
Did you hear what he said? If that's true, there's no Democratic Party left. And now he's saying it's true.
That is absolutely insane.
It's not a Fox poll.
If you want to ask me, well, that's another reason why I'm not registered as a Democrat. I can't put up with that crazy shit. That's nuts. And I've told him that. I said, when you believe that the government should take care of you and you don't want to get up at your, I was asked by Elizabeth Warren, what's happened to the West Virginia Democrats? Why we lose all the union? I said, you've lost the union workers. You lost the working people of America because they believe the Democratic Party in Washington spends more time, effort, and resources on able-bodied, capable people that don't work or won't work than those that still are working, trying to make a living. That's it in a nutshell. I can't give it to you any plainer than that.
I'll tell you, I'd feel a lot better.
Do you hear what he just said? This is a big deal.
I said, when you believe that the government should take care of you and you don't want to get up at your, I was asked by Elizabeth Warren, what's happened to the West Virginia Democrats? Why we lose all the union? I said, you've lost the union workers. You lost the working people of America.
You lost the union workers and lost the working people of America. That's their entire base, folks, or it was. All they have left is the crazy college-educated elites, which there's not that many of them, and the people on welfare and who plan to stay on welfare forever. That's all they got. That is not a majority, folks. That is not a party. That's not going to take you anywhere. We have no idea how weak they are yet because they're still held afloat by election fraud. Thank you, Amy Coney Barrett. But that's the only reason they're even in the fight, guys. You do not grow a majority in America by becoming communist. You can get crazier. You can make your crazy people even more entrenched. You can get them to plant their feet and make your base a little stronger, but you can't grow. And that, my friends, is what they're telling us right now. They lost Manchin. He says he's not even a registered Democrat anymore. This man was a Democrat senator for years, decades. It's falling apart for them. They're losing the middle. The Democrats know this, which is why they're trying to get you to black pill right now. Because the only way they're going to win is if you don't show up. That's the dirty secret right there. If you give up, that's the only way they can win. Here's Stephen A. Smith, a Democrat himself, living in New York. Here's what he has to say about what's happening.
If you're a Democrat in the United States, particularly in New York City, Zohran Mamdani is coming. And if he's coming, what does that mean for the rest of America? Because I got questions. Where has socialism ever succeeded? If so, tell us where that is. How is it going to succeed in New York? How are you going to sell that in a capitalistic society? You might do it in New York with young voters. What about the people in the suburbs? What about them? You really, really think this kind of message is going to resonate with them? Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here is this. If it resonates within the Democratic Party, but it doesn't have a snowball's chance of resonating in a general election, then you're basically handing the presidency to the GOP in 2028 as well. That's what you're doing. Because the party, the Democratic Party, will have been perceived as being fragmented. That's what I'm seeing when I see Zohran Mamdani.
He's right in his analysis of the problem. He's not right in his analysis of why. It has nothing to do with the Democrats being fragmented. It has to do with the fact they're insane. They're crazy people. But regardless, he's right. And all these guys crashing out are right. They know that this is terrible for them. Listen to your enemy, how they feel about things right now. They're not in a good place, guys. Earlier today, somebody wrote me and said, we're going to keep losing because they're so united. Does this look like unity to you guys? See, people forget that, yes, the communists are united, but we're talking about the commies, the true commies, even though in the Democratic Party, 62% of Democrats now view socialism favorably. It's much smaller when you actually get down to outright communism. We're talking about 30 to 40%. Well, 30 to 40% of Democrats, who are basically 30% of the electorate, that makes them about 5 to 10% of our nation. Let's say 8 to 10% of our nation. 8 to 10% of our nation is not going to win general elections, guys. They are losing the moderates. They are pushing away the independents. I don't care how many mail-in ballots you have. You're not getting a general election win going this direction. It'll be too big to rig by far for a long time. And yet, they're too stupid to recognize it. Here is a list of what San Diego is doing on their 4th of July celebration. And guys, tell me how many people are going to be for this. 5:45 to 6 p.m. Tribal, intimate blessing, welcoming to the land. 6 o'clock, welcoming and land acknowledgement. 6:10, tribal invocation. 6:20, national and black national anthem. This is July 4th, folks. 6:35, local tribal community stories. 7 o'clock, Latino community stories. 7:25, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander community stories. 7:50, LGBTQIA community stories. 8:25, Black and African community stories. And then we're going to do closing remarks. Nothing about America at all. Guys, San Diego is traditionally one of the most Republican cities in California. You think they're going to stand for this? You think this is going to go over well with that population? I don't think so. This is how they're going to keep losing everybody. See, many people look at the scary things that happen on the news and they say, oh my God, our country's falling apart. I see the opposite. I see that all these people who for years wanted this behind the scenes, but were slowly peeling us off, maybe by making everybody in movies and TV that was weird or trans look like the most sane people. Maybe it was by making it normal for kids in entertainment to never have parents that were married anymore. Maybe they made it look normal by everybody sleeping around, like the show Friends. Oh, that's how it should all be. We should all just be disgustingly hooking up with everybody. And that got into the culture as normalcy because it didn't look harmful. They put a big, they covered it all they covered shit in a ton of honey and fed it to us. And so we started thinking that the shit was good. But now they're not even covering it in honey. They just throw it at you. And I'm sorry, but nobody wants this. There's a very small segment of people who want this. And it's forcing the waking up. People see our country as being lost. I see our country, the bad guys, as being exposed. And that, my friends, is the beginning of the wins. I'm sorry, but historically speaking, that's how it works. Once things get exposed, it's usually the beginning of the end for them. They would have been much smarter staying behind the scenes, but they didn't. And now it's going to come back and bite them. We have people like Dave Portnoy, sports guy, very popular show. He's a Democrat, longtime Democrat. But he's moderate. He loves capitalism. He hates what he's seeing. And somebody like this is talking about running for mayor of New York. And I'm telling you, this is somebody who could actually win. Listen to Portnoy. By the way, I'm not a fan of Portnoy, but would he be better than Mamdani? About 100,000 times, yes.
So I've always thought I would never get involved in politics. I think you can do more in the private sector. This and what is going on has actually made me pause that thought. I was saying to you, that old Plato quote, if you don't do your public service and run for office, you're doomed to be run by basically dummies. Right. And right now, I feel like that's what's happening. Now, not everyone's getting out to vote. I think what the Democrats have done is they've let the fox into the hen house.
Right.
And now he's just running rampant and kicking
Right.
them all out.
Right.
So it's a scary time. We need leaders to step up. Depending on what day you catch on me in Nantucket, when I roll out of bed, I have a nice ocean view, and it's like, why do I want to ruin my life and get involved in this mess? Because I know what comes with it. But sometimes I do feel like it's my duty. I can't turn away. I feel like I could make a change. Maybe I do run in politics. So I don't know. It depends on the day you catch me. But let me say this. I spend a lot of my day losing my mind on what's happening right now.
Listen, you know what, Portnoy, like I said, I don't agree with Portnoy on the vast majority of things. I also kind of think he's a degenerate. But I will tell you this. When I was growing up in California, in the 90s, in the early 2000s. My friends who were Democrats were just like Portnoy. They were fun. They were interesting. They liked the idea of business and making money. They were not communists. We had disagreements on morality, abortion, how big the government should be. Absolutely. But it was like Americans. We loved our country. We love what it stood for. We love sports and movies. We found many areas of agreement. And that, my friends, is what Portnoy is. He's that old school Democrat that was like a friend of mine growing up, where we had staunch disagreements, but we could get along. And I knew my friends, if they were in charge, which they never would have been, but if they ever were, my friends would not have burnt down America. They would have turned it in a direction I would have liked, but they wouldn't have destroyed our country. Our disagreements were big, but they were not ocean wide. This is the difference, and this is what we need if we're ever going to have a real opposition party again. We need folks like him, where we could get along and disagree, but also find compromise in. And again, this is not me touting Dave Portnoy, but I'm saying that these people are starting to think about rising up in the party. Now, it might be too late, and I think it is too late to save the Democratic Party, but it shows there's hope for the future. And because if they lose guys like this, they lose their future and their present. And so that's why I show you guys these things, because the enemy is freaking out. They recognize the problems. Now, their problems are only going to get worse because Trump continues to get good news on the economy. Today, Zero Hedge reports another jolt. Job openings smash expectations despite another drop in number of hires. Look at this. 1 month after April JOLTS report came out with a whopping 9 sigma beat to estimates, when it showed in April the U.S. opened a whopping 730,000 job openings to 7.6 million and up 520,000 from a year ago, smashing estimates of 6.9 million. Moments ago, the BLS reported that in May, the number of job openings printed at 7.59 million, way ahead of the estimates of 7.29. Guys, this is huge. The job numbers are going up. What does that mean? That means companies are excited. Companies are starting to hire. They are starting to spend money again. And guess what that means? That means next comes the better jobs. Next comes the higher wages. Because as companies start to hire, they start looking for people, and there starts being competition over labor. This is the sign that the people, the employees, the working class are about to start seeing wage gains at a strong level. It's happening. It's working. And while this is happening, gas is about to tank. And I'm about to tell you this because oil is way down, and Trump is now hammering the oil companies. He posted this last night. Gasoline retailers must get their prices down immediately. They're too high considering oil is now at 68 a barrel and heading south. Retailers must react to this statement and do what they know is right. Drop your price for our great American people. There will be no gouging, totally illegal. If retailers don't do this, big problems lie ahead. Start targeting around $2.50 a gallon number And California should stop charging such heavily taxes on their gasoline. Soon the tax will be higher than the product itself. The U.S. won't stand for it, nor will California, the people who are being abused by these ridiculous taxes in their own government. Again, Trump started doing this a couple days ago. Oil is down lower than it was the day before we attacked Iran. That's just a fact, which means the prices should reflect it, which means the gas companies are slow in adjusting their prices accordingly. Trump threatening them is going to make this happen quicker. And I'm telling you, by the midterms, low twos, most likely where we're going to be. And that, again, is going to spur the economy. Trump yesterday signed this executive order, which is going to help start making car stuff cheaper.
Mr. President, this is a presidential memo to the Environmental Protection Agency, a presidential memo supporting the freedom to fix. Americans have the freedom to fix their vehicle. President Trump insists upon it. We are not going to be going after people who are fixing their own vehicle like past administrations have. Additionally, we've been concerned, President Trump has been concerned about aftermarket parts, cheap knockoff aftermarket parts coming into the United States, harming small businesses, harming Americans. This presidential memo puts an end to it. Also, the only third-party certification for these aftermarket parts is CARB in California, a process that's backlogged and faulty. So we're going to break that monopoly, and no longer will CARB be the only third-party certifier for these aftermarket parts. Again, President Trump is insisting on fixing it. This presidential memo does that. President Trump was calling me up on a Saturday night when this idea first came.
So Trump already rolled back the CAFE standards, which is going to make all vehicles much cheaper, especially new ones going forward. And now he's made it cheaper to get parts. Guys, this is all going to add up. I know where we're at. I know it's not hit yet. But guys, he's only been in there, 18 months at this point, 17 months. His actual economic policies didn't get passed until last July 4th. So they haven't been in place a year. And from that point, it takes 18 to 24 months to see real results. I'm telling you, they're coming. All these policies are adding up. And eventually the dam will break. So I know it's hard to tell you to be patient, but we're starting to see the relief. And heading into the midterms is going to be a big deal. A big deal. And I'm telling you, even Rich Barris, who's gone full-on grifter shill in the last few months, even he's now forced to report that Trump's getting more popular again. Trump bump. Voters overwhelmingly support Iran peace deal. Key metrics improve for GOP for first time since start of Iran war. President's job approval rating significantly improved as he pushed for and signed an overwhelmingly popular peace deal to end an overwhelmingly unpopular war with Iran. Unsurprisingly, midterm outlook improved for Republicans in June as both Democratic advantages on generic ballot and trust to handle deteriorated and fell off historic highs. Rich Barris forced to report this. You know it's bad. You know it's not heading in the right direction for these people. If he's now forced to report, it's getting better. He's trying to be on the right side of history no matter what. He's willing to sell his soul for that. And right now, saying the Trump team is looking much better. It's looking much better. So this is a huge tell of where they're at. Now, with all this happening leading up to the midterms, the Republicans have officially announced their convention. This is going to be the first midterm convention that I think has ever happened for the Republicans. Maybe for the Democrats too. They're going to put a lot of money in this. This is going to be a massive event all over the news. Conventions are a big deal. They bring bumps. The Democrats are too broke to do a convention. So if they put one together, it's going to be hilarious. They aren't even talking about it right now. But what's interesting about it being a convention? Well, you only do conventions in presidential years because a convention is not a rally. And let's talk about the difference here. and what it could mean. A political convention is a formal official meeting of a political party. Its main job is to conduct serious party business. It is nominating candidates. Well, guess what? You don't nominate candidates at a convention for House and Senate. Interesting. You only do that for presidency. Adopting a party platform. Delegates debate and vote on the official policy positions. Party rules and leadership. Interesting. Delegates, not the general public. But we don't have delegates in a midterm year. So why a convention? Is it possible that Trump is planning on weeding out some Republicans heading into the midterms? Taking them out for corruption? Getting rid of them for foreign ties? I don't know. But it is very interesting. Maybe that won't happen at all. Maybe this is just going to be a rally and they're calling it a convention. Maybe. But calling it a convention does open up this possibility. Is it possible that Trump is going to be doing something that's never been done before that's going to lead to needing a convention before the midterms? I don't know. But it is really interesting, isn't it? I find this fascinating. Regardless, it's going to be must-watch TV, and I'll definitely be covering it a ton on this channel. But all of this, guys, the improving economy, the freakouts by the Democrats, I mean, all of it tells me that we're headed towards the possibility of a big win and upset in the midterms, regardless of mail-in ballots or not. Too big to rig. We did it in 24. It looks like we might be headed towards that again this year in 26. But we'll see how it happens. We'll see how it works out. I am very hopeful. And honestly, despite the terrible SCOTUS ruling yesterday on mail-in ballots, I'm actually more hopeful today than I was yesterday. And it has nothing to do with the ballots. It just has to do with the fact that I'm watching the Democrats crazy panic. And I'm watching the shills, the grifters like Rich Barris, having to report that Trump is on the comeback. That tells you all you need to know. All right. If you guys don't mind, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Gonna get to more stuff. We're going to be talking about Trump next segment, guys. How a lot, just more of what he's doing, reshaping the world and so many things with justice, accountability. There's so much more going on behind the scenes than we are being told. And then bringing it back, because I didn't have one yesterday, we got a grifter report today. And man, this grifter report has a really, really fun section I'm very excited to get to. So cannot wait to get to it. But we'll end with that here in a little bit. But first, let me get into the chat again. I did see some super chats come in, so I want to make sure I don't ignore those because you guys are just unbelievable in your generosity today. Freenez with the $10 super chat says, I still pray for Tim. I just think a lot of the doomerism is his lack of having Jesus in his life. I need to stay positive. He's awful about what he says about Callie. I need to stay hopeful. Do not, like with me when I watch Tim, I watch him for news. I watch him for sometimes really good analysis and context. I never watch him for his projections because Tim does get very scared sometimes. So don't let him tell you, Freenez. You know your state better than he does. Andrew Thompson with a $10 super chat says Tim Pool makes Vegeta look cool as a cucumber. Thank you, Andrew, for the super chat. K2 for you today with a $10 super chat says, question, does the election day ruling preclude the sitting of Congress or the president because an election can't be certified when a state can hold up their certification? Can Congress change this? No, that is in the Constitution. That would have to be constitutionally amended. So even if they refuse to certify on time, they have no choice but to sit their candidates according to the election, to the Constitution time. So there's still a timeline on that. I speak for you with a $100 super chat. Wow, thank you. I speak for you. I appreciate that so much. Says, you're a wonderful dad. My contribution trip to DC. May God bless you and keep you safe. Thank you. I speak for you. That is a very, very generous chat from you. Thank you so much. Johnny Hinanosa with $2 super chat says, our immigration laws are our backbone now. They are a huge part of it. And Trump is helping us enforce them. Thank God. Sleepy Trash Man with a $20 super chat says, to your trip, coffer, don't spend it all in one place. I will do my best. Maybe I could go to an arcade and make it last in these days and day and times. But thank you, Sleepy. I really appreciate it. David123 with the $10 super chat says, any advice on flying with a 17-month-old toddler? We're flying from Cali to DC for the 4th of July celebration. I will tell you, I've flown with several toddlers, being that I have 6 kids and done a lot of flying, especially when I did not live in North Carolina. We flew to see my in-laws frequently. The advice is this: do whatever you need to do. Get all the snacks, make it comfortable. Don't feel like you're a bad person if you got to use an iPad for a little bit. Do whatever you got to do to get through it and to make it as comfortable as possible. Be prepared. And the only way to get kids good at traveling is to keep traveling with them. You do it like my kids are amazing now because they love traveling. They've done it a bunch, but the early years are hard. So you just keep doing it and the kids will get used to it and they'll start figuring out they like traveling, what they like about it, and it gets easier. So my advice is make it as easy as possible on you and mom, and then keep doing it. Don't run away from traveling because you have a toddler. Keep doing it because the fight, the hardness of it is worth it. It pays off later. So don't give up. Doc No with a $10 super chat says, by the way, David, maybe we'll see you in DC. Says, for the trip, also hope Trump can do something about California killing refineries. It's a national security issue for planes, military, trucking, shipping, not just cars. Utterly insane what they're doing. Amen. I do think and would not be shocked if Trump invokes some kind of national security issue for California's refineries at some point. So I do think that'll happen. I just don't know when. But you're right. It needs to be done. I believe they'll do it at the right time. Okay, let's get into the next segment. I do see so many chats today. I can't get to all you guys because I'm already running so late. It's been 2 hours. I've only done two big segments. Fortunately, the next two are smaller, but got to keep moving. And then I'll spend more time in the chat, more relaxed once we get through these. Okay, guys. So I'm not ignoring you. Just make sure you tag me. And by the way, the overwhelming response on the super chats today, I am so grateful. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. It was going to be tight and very budgeted trip, but now it's going to be just a little bit more. I won't have to sweat it as much as now. So thank you guys for that. Excuse me. All right, let's get into this. So we get nothing but lies about what Trump's doing. It's cover from the deep state. It's cover from City of London. They want to keep you distracted. They want to keep you dooming. They want always to keep you believing that we're not winning, that nothing's happening, and none of it matters. Why? Because the only way they win is if you give up. And here is just more proof of it. The Iran, this whole MOU, this ceasefire, it has been nothing but a smorgasbord of attack from the media and from neocons and the left against what Trump's trying to do. And there's a reason for that, because this is actually reshaping the Middle East and from there, all global politics in a way that's very good for the U.S. They want you to think Trump's accomplished nothing, except for he is accomplishing more than is on the front pages of everything. Right now, Ida Tehran reports from Iran, the regime is in chaos right now. Some people told Trump they want a meeting tomorrow in Doha while others are denying it. And now look at the post from a few hours ago by a Tehran MP who's one of the hardliners against negotiations. Is a coup on the way? I made this video 3 months ago right in the middle of the war, and I explained exactly who Trump was signaling to, why they would respond. I even predicted something close to a coup. If I could see the situation as clearly, they can see it too. I really hope arrests and infighting inside the regime start soon. Let Trump cook. In other words, there's a civil war going on in the leadership of Iran right now. The people are starting to smell it. Here's a post she was talking about. Warning to the people of Iran is a coup on the way. And in response to a post from Iran, translated Persian, says, today all three branches of government, the armed forces, the people, and civil institutions have become aware of the dangers of division and collapse. Did Trump set the stage? Is the government about to collapse in Iran? Are the people about to take over? I'll tell you, if it does, that's the number one best outcome of all of this, is that Iran gets its people to take him back over. And in all of this, this is what everybody said wouldn't happen, because you can't trust the people of Iran. And if you're talking about the IRGC or the mullahs, you're absolutely right. But what Trump's doing, all this back and forth, all this deal or no deal, all this, we got a ceasefire. Oh, you bombed, you attacked something. We bomb you. All this chaos. Turns out there's a method to the madness. Turns out there's something's working in all of it. And it's that it's driving the government and the factions in Iran crazy. And it's weakening those who had the most power, which is the IRGC. Trump might actually pull this off. And now we're getting it from actual Iranians who are trying to tell us that Trump, like it says right here, let Trump cook, that Trump's actually doing it. Isn't that amazing? City of London is losing bad right now. And their hope, their only hope, is to get Trump stuck and to try to turn the people against him. Neither one's working. Trump is navigating this masterfully, despite the chaos that it appears to be. It's actually working. So let the man cook, and let's see what comes out of it. Now, this is just one part of the puzzle. While Trump is fixing our geopolitics, taking the tentacles of City of London out of Iran, out of the Middle East, effectively crippling much of City of London's power, severely weakening them, exposing the EU, exposing China, we're also completely rebuilding and reshaping our financial system. Here's a great post explaining it. Trump assent worsened the end of helicopter money. The market's new doomers have a simple story. Liquidity is drying up. Helicopter money is gone. And risk assets are living on borrowed time. That thesis assumes the post-global financial crisis world in which central bank balance sheets were the only liquidity that mattered. In that framework, retreat of quantitative easing, asset purchases, and heavy-handed forward guidance must mean impending air pocket in markets. But it doesn't. Liquidity is not declining. The source is changing. This is very important. Global liquidity remains ample, with broad money and cross-border credit still expanding rather than contracting. That's a huge statement you're not going to hear in many places. They want you to think it's all falling apart. The regime shift is not from abundance to scarcity, but from publicly manufactured liquidity to privately created credit. That is the new system. And it's going to be the best system we've ever lived in. That shift is already visible in the aggregates. Trump admin is explicitly engineering that shift. Guys, that is the shift, by the way, away from City of London. This is City of London. This is the Keynesians' philosophy. The system we've been living under, the central bank system that we've been living under since 1913. This is it. And they're killing it. And the smart people who understand finance see it. This changes the world. This changes the economy. Stop dooming. Just on this note, people worried that a Democrat comes in 28 or we lose the midterms. Do you understand that if Trump successfully changes this system before those elections, even if they get in, they're all of a sudden miles back from where they were. And all they'll be able to do is start trying to get back. That's what Trump's doing. He's undoing what they've set up for over a century. They can't snap their fingers and make it come back. This is the kind of change that's lasting and protects us from those in power in the future. The Trump administration explicitly engineering that shift. President Trump's economic policy is built on deregulation, reversing the thicket of post-global financial crisis rules that pulled risk-taking in the public sector with the Fed's balance sheet and guarantees filling the void. Project Now is roll that back and let private balance sheets, rather than central bank ones, carry the credit cycle. This will also make it impossible to get CBDCs in America, at least. The era of financial engineering is ending. By the way, this also fixes our markets. Oh, Trump never does anything about the markets. Maybe it's because he was focused on actually fundamentally changing them instead of just tackling the symptoms. Interesting. Emphasis is shifting back to productive real capital and credit creation tied to actual economic activity. What have I been telling you guys? This is about creating a real economy around Main Street, where Wall Street now will be reflective of Main Street's economy, not leading it. That's exactly what Trump's doing. Bissett has framed this as a reprivatization of the economy, using deregulation, supervisory reform to lighten capital and leverage constraints and re-empower banks as intermediaries. Recalibrating supplementary leverage ratios so reserves and treasuries no longer act as binding constraints is central to unlocking additional lending capacity. Interesting. Reserves and treasuries are no longer binding restraints. Wow. I don't think most people understand what a big deal that is. This is closer to Jacksonian political economy. Oh, Jackson, who got rid of the first central bank. Interesting. Then the post-2008 technocracy. People keep saying Trump's reinstalling the technocracy. No, we are killing it. And guess what? Guess who's a big supporter of this? J.D. Vance. Oh, sorry, Whitney Webb fans. Oh, you're wrong. You're retarded. Not that everybody listens to Whitney Webb's retarded. She's retarded. Just don't believe her. The technocracy is dying. Obama ushered it in. We've lived under the technocracy for the last 17 years. This is closer to Jackson's political economy than the post-2008 technocracy Wall Street Keynesians still implicitly assume. One where the state sets broad rules and the private sector does the lending. Besant's recent appearances at the Economic Club of New York underline the move away from helicopter-style central bank dominance, welcoming the retreat from granular forward guidance and emphasizing clearer policy window in which private credit and price signals do more of the work. Kevin Warsh's arrival at the Fed Reserve fits that template. A smaller balance sheet, narrower mandate is institutional repositioning rather than classic tightening. The cultural lag is on Wall Street. A generation has hardwired the equation. Less central bank liquidity equals tighter financial conditions, even as the marginal engine of liquidity shifted to private credit. The doomers are right about one thing. Risks remain. Private credit cycles can overshoot. A less activist central bank may mean more volatility at the margin. It will, but that's okay. That means that the capitalism can actually work. But by clinging to helicopter money decade, they're missing a regime in which liquidity is not declined but being resourced, leaving quality liquidity, proxies, and banks and private credit socially mispriced for the world emerging rather than the ones that are already ended. That's it. That's, by the way, everything he just said. That's dying, the technocracy, the central bank liquidity, the financial leadership of publicly sanctioned. That's all City of London. In other words, I can sum up this entire post in one sentence. Trump is dismantling City of London and replacing it with a real economy. Boom. That is this entire post in one sentence. City of London's going bye-bye, folks. And Iran enabled us to accelerate it. That is very important to understand. Now, on the justice side of things, this is very interesting. This is a great post. They're not chasing one bad actor. They're dismantling every layer of the illicit crypto ecosystem simultaneously. This is for everybody who thinks there's nothing happening in market for market justice. In the last 30 days, Market manipulation, Operation Token Mirrors. The FBI built fake tokens, listed them on exchanges, and waited. 10 foreign nationals indicted, 3 CEOs extradited from Singapore. Firms that sell watch trading as a service are gone. What? We wiped out a bunch of watch trading firms? My old community that was built around the stock talk would be very happy about that. I wonder where they're at now. They always told me Trump's not going to do anything. So they left. Trump's doing it. Oh. Crypto mixing. Audi A6. 13 nations took down a $389 million laundering ring that washed money for ransomware gangs, including Alpha, Black Hat, and Lockbit. Mixing layer is gone. 400 million. Laundering ring. Broken. Processing infrastructure. DOJ seized the cloud servers. FinCEN hit them with a Section 311 special measure. When they rebranded to HPay, FinCEN chased the successor entity. World's largest illicit crypto marketplace is gone. Boom. It's a big deal, folks. TCO Financial Networks. 3 agencies in 48 hours. OFAC sanctioned them. FinCEN designated their bank. DOJ seized their back end. 35 new targets gone in one action. State-level sanctions evasion. Iran's 4 largest crypto exchanges sanctioned by OFAC in a single action. 344 million in Tether frozen by U.S. law enforcement. Iran's entire crypto off-ramp is gone. Wait, you mean Iran can't shadow bank anymore? Oh, no. Wow. It's almost like the Trump administration knows exactly what it's doing. Imagine that. Cartel finance, Sinaloa cartel, crypto laundering, cell sanctioned by OFAC, cash to crypto pipeline that moved cartel money is designated. We know where all the cartel money went. Oh, man. Consumer fraud. 276 have been arrested globally in pig butchering crackdown. 700 million restrained. DOJ scam center strike force operating across Dubai, Thailand, and the Philippines. All the offshore stuff going bye-bye. Ponzi pyramid, Forsage, co-founder Lola Ferrari extradited from Thailand. $340 million scheme. Over 80% of participants lost money. Blockchain analysis proved it mathematically. 8 layers, 8 simultaneous operations. Every single one of them uses blockchain analysis as prosecution backbone. They told you crypto can't be regulated. They were right. It can be surveilled, traced, frozen, seized, and forfeited without asking permission. Holy smokes. Guys, you understand what this means. This means that no one can get away with the fraud anymore. No one. All this stuff is tracked. And the Trump administration is cracking down on all of it. Now, I'll tell you this. It's always been tracked. They were just letting it happen before. But for everybody who says the Trump administration is not doing anything, they are shutting the doors on all of this offshore banking, wash trading, illicit scandals with market manipulation, crypto, you name it. They're cutting them off. And you know what this does? This sends shockwaves out there where everybody, guarantee you all the criminals see this and they are getting scared right now. They're scared, which means a lot of it will stop. Let me go to this one. Here's a big one. G. Wengwei, 30 years, SDNY. SDNY, why is that interesting? That's where Trump's guy is. Jay Clayton, the guy who's going to take over ODNI after Pulte. Same courthouse, same pattern, Silk Road. OneCoin, Greenwood got 20 years. Wow. $1 billion in fraudulent crypto vehicles. He got 30 years. Longest sentence in crypto fraud enforcement. Fraud window, 2018 to 23. That's the accumulation phase. DOJ watched, mapped the money, built the case, closed the door. Oh, nothing's happening. Self-exiled Chinese billionaire gets 30 years in prison for fraud conviction. Boom. It's happening, folks. It's happening. Stop blackpilling. Stop blackpilling. SDNY is now running 3 major financial crime operations simultaneously. JP Morgan Chase and the Iran Supreme Leader money flows. Oh, that's City of London shadow banking right there. Goldman Sachs and the Singham. We covered this yesterday. Neville Singham. CCP, $300 million pipeline. Going after him. And then Guo just got sentenced. 3 cases, 2 banks, 2 adversary nations, 1 courthouse. And all of it, City of London system. Boom. Guys, why are you blackpilling? Why are you blackpilling? All this is going on. Arrests, reshaping of our entire financial system. Iran, people, the government's about to collapse. Trump is orchestrating all of this. And while he's doing all of this, we're also getting stuff like this. The first congressional hearing on MK Ultra since 1977. What? Are you kidding me? Exposure. Exposure means justice isn't far behind. So listen, guys. Trump is fundamentally changing the world right now. He's fundamentally changing our economy. These are things that cannot be undone quickly. He is undoing hundreds of years, and at least in our economy, 100+ years of manipulation, control, corruption, collusion. He's undoing all of it. It's all unwinding right now. Bad actors getting caught, people being put on blast, fraudsters realizing we are being tracked. All of it's happening right now, and nobody's talking about it. You're not seeing this on Steven Crowder and Tim Pool. I'm sorry. Not that those guys are bad. You're definitely not seeing it on Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens. No, they just want to talk about Erica Kirk. Want to talk about Trump's the Antichrist. Alex Jones wants to tell you World War III is about to happen. You don't get real news, are you? Meanwhile, Trump is fundamentally changing the world, not our nation, the world. But it starts here. It's best for here. You can't undo this stuff, guys. You have to rebuild the systems. And that takes a long time. So God forbid, a Democrat comes into power in 2028. It's not going to happen, but let's pretend. God forbid it happens. Yeah, they do some crazy stuff. They stack our Supreme Court. They do other horrible things. Make DC a state. Give them more electoral votes, a couple more senators. They stack the deck. It's still going to take them decades to get back to where they were before. So it'll suck. It'll make our fight that much harder. They're going to impose a lot of other crazy stuff. But the fundamental shift, the foundation of what they built this all on, Trump is dismantling. And once you dismantle a foundation, it's very difficult to build upon it again. And that's what Trump's doing, which is why there'd be no blackpilling on this channel, folks. Because Trump is doing not only what we voted for, but much, much more. And nobody's talking. Why is Steve Bannon not talking about this? Why does Alex Jones, who knows where the receipts are, I know all the conspiracies. Why is he not talking about this? This is only the conspiracy. This is only the powers that be behind the scenes. Why are they not talking about it? Oh, because you're not supposed to know. Because they're supposed to keep you distracted with the latest nonsense coming out from Scott Ritter, my apologies, who needs to tell you for an hour about Iran's super duper secret missiles that they're just waiting to blow up America with. Because guys, really, they have them. They just haven't decided it's time to use them yet. That's what they want you to know. Not the reality. Everything ultimately is economic. And that's where Trump is changing fundamentally. When I report financial news is better, we're seeing upticks in manufacturing, upticks in hiring, inflation's going down, oil prices are going down, people are spending more money, prices are starting to tick down. When I show you all that and you say, I don't know, I'm not that excited about that. Okay, just understand that all of that matters, but all of this literally changes everything. We've never lived under an economy where this system is fundamentally different. And we're about to find out what that looks like. And I think it's going to be much, much better than any of us dare to dream right now, because it is going to be the first time we've ever lived in an actual American system. That's what Trump's doing, and I'm very, very excited about it. All right. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. Next, we have a grifter report. It's back. It's back, and it's going to be a lot of fun today. All right, but before we get there, hit that like, that subscribe. I did see a couple super chats come in. Let me get to those real quick. Ryan Lynn with a $10 super chat says, the pressure of flying in a baby's ear hurts. May give them a chewy toy. Keep the jaw moving. Yeah, that's great advice. Give them something to chew, to pop that ear open. 100%, Ryan. Thank you for the advice. I know that David will appreciate it. And thank you for the super chat as well. As always, thank you for the support. You guys are the best. Let's see. Yes, Promethean Action talks about this in great detail. They do a wonderful job explaining it. So, Jonathan Edward Gibson says, I never swallowed the black pill. I just licked it, put it aside, tried again, and eventually the poison made harmless. Now pill becomes clear enough to see through. I like that, Jonathan. That's good. That's good stuff. Good job never swallowing it. That's for the weak. And don't get me wrong. I meet all kinds of people who black pill, but it's only because they don't have the information. And those people, when they see the information, they wake up. And kudos to them for having the intellectual honesty and courage to grow. It's the people who know the information and still black pill because they don't want to believe it. Those are the people I have no time for. If I show you all this stuff and you're still black pilled because you just don't want to believe it, I don't know what to do with you. I just don't. That's where it really becomes a problem. And I just don't see any room for black pilling. Not when you understand what's fundamentally going on behind the scenes. Okie Sooner says, I've got to look at Trump's last post congratulating China for their massive win, talking about the Supreme Court. He's trolling the court. What? Hold on. Let me look at this. Let me look at Trump's Truth right now, Truth Social. Oh my God. He did it. I would like to congratulate President Xi and the great country of China on their massive birthright citizenship win. Oh my God. We don't deserve him. That is so funny. Anything else? Yeah, he did give us this. Well, actually here, Trump's got some good stuff here. So let's look at these. I think these are important. Let's look at Trump's breakdown on this stuff. So he says the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship. Too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined through this process. No long and unwieldy constitutional amendment is necessary. Congress should start today to work on ending expensive and unfair to our country birthright citizenship. They'll have my complete total support. Wow. So this is how you do it, folks. You want to see a master class in how to find opportunity in a bad decision, in a loss? Trump is the master. And he just showed you how to do it. Look at what he did. Because of this decision, how it's worded, he says now we can do it in Congress and we don't need a constitutional amendment. He's seeing it as a win in that regards. That's how you do it, folks. That's the master right there. No black pilling, no freaking out. Just how do we find the opportunity? And Trump did it. Wonderful. I love this man. And I don't even say that. No homo. I just love him. And then he posted this. He posted, the biggest and most consequential decision issued by the court by far is Slaughter case, which overturned the famous Humphrey's executive rule. The whole concept of power has been fought over for 100 years, going all the way back to FDR, where a large slice of his power was taken away. He fought to regain it, even wanting to pack the court, but was unsuccessful. This decision gives tremendous additional power to the presidency where it belongs. It's an honor to be the sitting president who, after all these years, won. It's very important in Harfar case. We had other good victories too. We also had birthright citizenship lost, which we'll correct in Congress, but the big slaughter was slaughter. The big slaughter was slaughter. That's fantastic. The big slaughter was slaughter. You know what this means? Firings, baby. Deep state slaughter. Republican Party was treated very fairly by the United States Supreme Court. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's interesting. To end that with this, Republican Party was treated fairly by the Supreme Court. Interesting. That is very interesting. Trump, man, he always keeps you like off guard. I never know what to think. He is, well, it's not that I never know what to think. He just gives us so many, he's just got such an interesting way of framing stuff. So I can't always read him in the middle of it, but immediately. But this is so funny. Congratulate President Xi on their massive birthright citizenship. We don't deserve him, folks. We don't deserve him. He's blessed us with an amazing, amazing man as president. So good. So good. All right. Let's see. Rum Dog says some of us are still with you. I know, Rum. I was talking to the losers who left, but Rum, you're the best. I got you. I got Moody. There's a bunch of people who've been here for 3+ years who have stuck with me through the good and the bad, through the dooming and the not dooming, through the transition into politics. And you guys are the best, and I love you for it. I appreciate you guys. See, that's all we needed, says Monica. Trump, man, he's a machine. It's still the worst decision in American history. I don't know about that. There's been some pretty bad ones. I don't know about worst. It definitely was bad, but you can listen, and this is why I say it's not the worst. There is a little bit of defense because of the wording of the 14th Amendment. It is, I would argue it's not the worst decision ever. It might be one of the most egregious, but there are decisions that just like changed wording. And that, like, I think the mail-in ballot decision's worse. Because that one, she literally changed the definition of day, of what election day means. So that's worse. On this one, they just said jurisdiction means you're here, and you can argue that, but she didn't change the word at least. XRP Alchemy, did Trump sign a debt jubilee trumpet? I don't know about that whole debt jubilee stuff, man. I would love to see it happen. I don't know if it's going to. I don't know if I agree with that that theory. But if it happens, I'm happy to be wrong. DJ says, I wasn't here when Obama admitted aliens were real. Well, I think aliens are real. I just don't think they're from other planets. I think they're interdimensional. I think they're angels and demons. And you can call them aliens to people who don't understand the spiritual realm. So I think that's what they mean. We've seen no proof that they're intergalactic. Anything else? No. All right, you guys ready? No, debt jubilee, not dead jubilee. Okay, let's get into the grifter report, shall we? All right. God Reliant says it's time for another bloody war. It's not our only option. That's just not true. That's such a doomer position. I understand some people believe that the only option we have is another revolution or civil war. I completely disagree with that. I think we are in much better place than we think we are behind the scenes. And I actually think we're going to get through this without bloodshed. I do think that if things go south and get much worse, yes, it could lead to that. But I don't think we're headed that direction. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. And I've been studying this stuff for 20 years. David123 with a $10 super chat says, will the whole family be inside National Mall for the fireworks show? Yes. And I've flown with 6 different babies on my lap, David. But thank you for the super chat, brother. I've done it with 6 different babies, man. Trust me, I've done it. Bobby Girl says, will the postmark deal save the elections? No, because corrupt states, it is possible to change a postmark. It is. It's not necessarily difficult. So there, it could help, but you're dealing with corrupt people. They'll find any way to do it. So, violence, poetry, easy fix to end birthright ruling, and dual citizenship. That'll help. I mean, it won't completely fix it because people could still jump over here, but I agree that would help. I agree that would help. All right. You guys ready? So, a lot of people ask me why I do the Grifter Report. I get it all the time. Why do you give attention to these people? Just ignore them. Why? You're helping them. To which I always counter, no, you don't understand. Ignoring them allows those people who don't hear the counter, don't see the breakdown of how they're lying to us. It allows them to stay in the bubble. And so it's very important to call them out. It's very important to show the grift. And the reason why is because it's all psyops. These people are creating psyops. They lie to you. They appeal to your emotions. They give you just enough truth to earn your trust, and then they hit you. They hit you with a lie, and they hope you believe it. Because if you believe it, you get discouraged, you check out, you might resort to violence and desperation. Whatever it is, you do exactly what they don't want you to do, which is keep fighting in the right ways, the peaceful ways. You don't show up to vote. You don't run for office. You don't go out and call them out. You don't present truth. You don't present your opinion because you give up. That is why I do the Grifter Report. And it's also funny. I have a lot of fun laughing at these idiots. But regardless, talking about PSYOPs, here's a great post on it. Greetings to everyone in our corner of X. I think there's an ongoing PSYOP being perpetrated as we speak. You think? There always is. But it says, yes, I know, unbelievable. In current year, anyway, I believe the enemy is trying to break up the band and prevent our group of experts from sharing areas of expertise. In other words, there's a PSYOP against the good folk. And this is an excellent post. It's going to name names, and I'm not saying I agree with everything in this post. But I do think the premise is true. But it gives you a great reality and understanding of why I fight this stuff. It says, prevent our experts from sharing their areas of expertise and combining resources to become something more than individual parts. They're trying to find the ideological outrage points you all have and use those wedges to drive you all apart and prevent you from trusting each other, despite having alignment on ideas and actually matter for this fight. For instance, Alex Craner can be moved by focusing on crimes of Israel. Then via the transitive property of the U.S. being allied with Israel, the U.S. shares responsibility for those crimes. Trump himself, then MAGA plus Republicans. It's a Groyper playbook for the intelligence. Alex Craner, I think, is a good man. I think he's on our side. I don't think he's a grifter. I do agree that he is really bitten into this whole anti-Israel thing in ways that I don't believe are healthy or helpful. And I do think they're right about this. Dave Collum, it's taking advantage of his meticulousness. Give him the deepest, most complex rabbit holes to look at and watch him tie himself in knots over the course of a few months. Throw in a few false trails and down each branch of the rabbit. And even someone like Dave's eventually in a hall of mirrors on a given topic. I've listened to Dave. He is fully black-pilled. It's very discouraging. And so I think they nailed it here. I don't think Dave's bad. I don't think he's a grifter. I do think he has bought in on this. So I agree with this. For veterans like Ian Burlingame and General Holt, play on their sense of loyalty by inserting intel-adjacent military vets in their circles. This is Joe Kent. Joe Kent, as I've said before, is lauded by these two, despite the fact I agree with Ian Burlingame and General Holt on almost everything, except for the fact they trust Joe Kent. Joe Kent, I believe, is a total grifter and fraud and dishonored his role in the military by how he treated the president and his commander-in-chief in a time of war. And I think I could never trust Joe Kent again. And I think I could see that clearly because I don't feel that loyalty, but they do. And this makes sense to me why they would stay with that. The secrecy necessary in the spec ops end of the military world is almost never questioned. This makes it easy to insert Sean Ryan's into the mix. Sean Ryan, total fraud. For finance types like Matt Dines and Vince Launchy, it's via negative association. Cast down your own loyalties. Blah, blah, blah. He goes on and on and on. One last thing they're doing is trying to discredit neutral hosts like Crypto Rich and Tommy. as you guys know, I do a lot of shows with Crypto Rich. I love Crypto Rich. He just has guests on. He asks questions. But do I agree that he's probably had a couple weirdos on there that I disagree with? 100%. Says they're doing this by sneaking cranks and weirdos in their guest list to discredit guys like all the previously mentioned people by guilt. In other words, it could discredit someone like me who's on Crypto's or who's on Rich's channel because they put other weirdos on there. In other words, guys, why do I do the Grifter Report? To break the psyops that happen even to the good people. I've told you guys before, there's psyops I've fallen for. Absolutely. There might be a psyop I'm falling for more or right now. Many of you people believe that I've fallen for the psyop that JD Vance is good. Fine. Maybe I have. I will find out in due time, because the one thing you guys can count on with me is that as soon as there's evidence to the contrary, that is evidence, not speculation, I will wake up, because that's what I've done. I've trained myself to do that. But does it mean that sometimes I don't see clearly? No, sometimes I don't see clearly. Of course not. Sometimes it's impossible to. And sometimes, yeah, maybe my emotions carried me somewhere and it's going to take me a while to wake up. That's okay. It happens to all of us. The truth is, no one is able to avoid all psyops. It's impossible because we all see through a lens. However, what you can do is train yourself how to grow out of them just in case you do believe them. And that is the real tell. Are you capable of waking up? Which is why I do this Grifter Report. Because at one point last year, when I started this report, I called out Candace. I called out Ian Carroll. I called out Alex Jones sometimes. You know, I didn't call out Tucker Carlson. I thought Tucker was good still last year. I did. I thought, I don't know. He might be the only one. I thought Megyn Kelly had fully seen the MAGA light, the Trump light, because she was very good for a couple years. But the trick is that as soon as they made it obvious, I turned. See? And that's the trick. Can you see through the psyops once the evidence is finally there? That's the question. And that's how you know you're awake. It's not that you never get psyoped, it's that you can grow out of them. Now, speaking of people who have been psyoped and not growing out of it, this guy right here, what's his name? Caleb Hammer, just interviewed a couple people who are completely brainwashed by Candace Owens. And I want you guys to see this and understand what it looks like when you refuse to wake up. This is very funny and a little painful.
Like conspiracy theories and like, I don't even know what the fuck is happening. What are what the fuck are we talking about?
I'll be talking about finances. The whole mortgage right now.
So that's why we're here, though, because he needs help managing his money. When I pay my bills.
But what is this conspiracy shit?
Okay, which one? Charlie Kirk's not actually dead.
What?
Selena Gomez is actually dead. And her and Justin Bieber's love child is with.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Well, it's conspiracy theories.
Someone's killed my marriage out here.
Yeah. He doesn't really agree.
I don't know. I saw some videos a lot on Twitter that day.
What day? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fake, though. So
you saw some people die, probably. Did that look like death?
No.
Well, it's questionable.
Oh,
it's questionable, dude. I've seen people shot. I've been part of shootings.
You've seen movies. Does that look like death?
World,
that looks more like death than the
I don't
Charlie
think
Kirk.
Movies are like.
But it is.
I'll put it to you this way.
Real quick. There's a lot of people out there who believe Charlie Kirk's not dead. There's a lot of people out there who believe he wasn't shot, that his microphone exploded and that killed him. There's all kinds of crazy stuff about Charlie Kirk. Some of it perpetrated by Candace Owens. And these people love Candace. Just telling you, this is the kind of crazy stuff that you have to deal with, that people like Candace gets their grips in these people, and it becomes a total mind operation. They take you over. This is what these people are, this is what it's like. By the way, everybody who watches Candace and comes to me with stuff, this is what I think of you. This is who you are to me now. Okay? Just letting you know. This is who you are to me.
Well,
Can I talk?
When you look at this situation, right? First off, a man shooting a shot that far away has to be
a child.
Has to be very, very, very good.
Maybe
I'll
he
tell you
got
that right
also
now.
just very lucky.
But the bullet that was supposedly used would have blown up his
I'll
head.
say this. I was an expert shooter in the military. I scored perfect every single time I've shot a weapon in the military.
The blood
300
didn't
yards,
even stain
25,
his
54,
clothes.
whatever, right?
So where is he? Why would he
And-
do this?
So he's in. Okay, so there's
There we go.
theories.
Here we
So
go.
there's theories. Okay, so he can either his
This is what happens when you buy the psyops. I'll skip down a little bit more.
believe this. I believe one of two theories. That's one of the theories. I don't believe he's actually dead.
Okay, and the other theory would be?
Well, I've got.
Well, now I understand why you guys can't talk about things, because you guys are like scary with your
Talking about
brains.
the trap door that you think's
Well,
there.
so yeah, the door. There was a trap door. They covered the trap door up after, like, right either that night or the
Who's
next day.
they?
I don't. That's the cover-up people.
The cover-up people.
Yeah, the cover-up people. What?
This is what happens when you watch Candace Owens and Believer. I'm sorry, but as he writes, Candace Owens fans have completely embarrassed themselves on Caleb Hammer's show. A married couple who are both Candace Owens fans appeared on the latest Caleb Hammer, and it went worse than you could possibly imagine. As you watch them expose how incredibly stupid they are, keep in mind these are the kind of people leaving psychotic comments under your posts. In fact, you'll find people like this in the comments below. Candace is boosted by bot farms, but never underestimate the amount of retards among us. Yeah, that's why they grift, folks. That's why they grift. And I get it in my chat all the time. I get retarded people who say the most insane stuff in my chat. And it's because they're believing grifters. Whether it's Candace, Alex, Tucker, Megan, or whether it's every single Democrat, because they're all grifters, regardless, they believe it. And that's why they do it. And that's why I speak out against it. Look at this. The stuff like Alex Jones is putting out there today. This is exactly a black pill. Alex Jones is trying to get you to black pill. I'm not going to play this because it's long and Alex does like 20 hours of streaming. But
and then they stopped doing it to the military and said it was illegal.
I'm doing the military. It's illegal. But this is what you need to, like, this is a small psyop, but it's a psyop. I just spent over an hour breaking down how we can see through and still win with this birthright stuff. But what does Alex do? Tune in for the live coverage of SCOTUS's country killing ruling. Country killing. See, everything is about supporting the PSYOP. Everything is about promoting blackpilling and dooming. When does Alex ever say, we got to win, or this is how we're going to fight? SCOTUS's ruling today leaves opportunity to fight. Never. Never say that stuff. Why? Because it's not just for views. It's not just for clicks. It's to get you guys scared all the time. This is what Steve Bannon does. Steve Bannon, like right here. Listen to Steve.
And Cash, I love you, brother, but I don't want to hear any more statistics about how crime's coming down, all that. We want to see perp walks of the deep state. We want to see perp walks of who stole 2020. We want to see get on with it, why we can still get on with it. Nobody believes the crime statistics anyway. I'm sorry. They still don't feel comfortable walking down a street in Memphis, these other places, unless they see the National Guard that President Trump will put in. So knock it off. No more stats. I don't want to hear any more crime stats. I want to see perp walks.
First of all, can we just talk about how Bannon looks more miserable than ever? This dude looks like 30, 40 pounds heavier than he was last time I watched him about 2 years ago. Dang, Steve, get it together, man. You look like you're dying. Look at those eyes. This is not a healthy person. Regardless, did you hear what he said? This is how he undermines Trump. He never goes after Trump personally because he knows if he does, he loses his audience. You can't go after Trump directly. Steve Bannon built his entire base on MAGA. It's not like Tucker Carlson, who's been around 25 years building his fandom off CNN and MSNBC and then on Fox News with some, old school Republicans. Tucker's got a lot of people different following. It's not like Alex Jones, who built his following off the off the conspiracy crowd. Bannon built his entire audience off of MAGA. So he cannot go against Trump in person. What he does instead is he acts like Trump is being undermined by everybody, including Kash Patel. When he says, instead of what I do, where I'm like, I understand you guys want to see names, but look at everything else that's happening. Names will come. And then we get stuff like John Bolton pleading guilty. Okay? Stuff happens. It's a process. Bannon is perpetuating the psyop that just because Bill Gates hasn't been put in cuffs yet, Trump's not doing anything. And he's perpetuating it by going after Kash Patel and saying Kash Patel's lying to you. That's how Bannon runs his grift. It's very clever because there's going to be people who watch that and said, yeah, I don't care. Just do, I don't care about all these arrests. I don't care that thousands of pedophiles are off the streets. I just want the Epstein pedophiles. I just want those 4 guys. That's all I care about. I don't care that 5,000 other ones are gone and hundreds of thousands of kids are saved. I don't care about that. I just care about Epstein. I know there's those people out there. You're morons, but you're out there. But that's who Bannon is playing to. He does this all the time. Every time I listen to him, there's something. And yeah, he has good guests on, and yeah, he says good stuff. Bannon knows how to play the game. He knows how to stay relevant. But I see stuff like this from Bannon all the time. I call it Bannoning. It's how you black pill in a way that MAGA doesn't always notice it. But it makes them nervous. It makes them not happy. Remember, this guy is in the Epstein files more than Bill Gates. He's in the Epstein files more than Reid Hoffman. All of his texts with Epstein were about getting rid of Trump, about Trump being a moron, about making Trump's first term not work, about undermining Trump at every opportunity. So when he says Kash Patel is undermining Trump, he's projecting because that's what he did. He's the one who got Trump to hire John Bolton, which he claimed in the Epstein files. Yeah, sorry. He's sloppy Steve, according to Trump, when Trump fired him in his first term. So yeah, he is bad news. And when he says stuff like this doesn't help anybody, by the way. What does MAGA learn from this? It only learns to, don't trust what they're telling you they're doing. They're not really doing anything. That's the whole message Bannon's pushing right here. It's insane, but it works. I get these morons in the chat all the time. I'm not going to tell me when the arrests happened, bro. I have people I consider friends that say that to me. I'm like, well, I love you, but you're stupid. I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about. And that's okay. We can still be friends, even if I don't think they're smart in this area. But the good news is it keeps falling apart on them, guys. It keeps falling apart. Nick Fuentes now. What happened to Nick? Why is he now turning on Candace Owens? Did they kick him out of the club? Did his last check not clear? I don't know. But just like the Democrats fighting their own, having a civil war, they're starting to become a civil war in Fagaland. Listen to this.
Charlie Kirk was killed by Tyler Robinson. He was. Tyler Robinson's transgender boyfriend sold him out. His parents turned him in. His DNA was found at the scene of the crime. His grandparents' gun was found in the bush, discarded after the killing. Tyler Robinson was the killer. He confessed. And what was Tyler Robinson? He was part of the radical left. He was in left-wing Discord servers. He organized with left-wing students. He was one of these people that would have been in favor of Zohran Mamdani. He's a radical left, trans liberation, socialist progressive, hick lib. That's what he was. He killed Charlie Kirk. And what immediately happened after Charlie Kirk died is all of a sudden there was a mandate from an angry nation, which was unequivocally destroy the radical left. Everybody in America.
Okay. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I just agreed with everything Nick Fuentes said for a whole minute. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but this is wild because this is exactly the opposite of what we're hearing from Candace, Megyn Kelly, Tucker, Alex Jones. Very interesting. Why is Nick turning on this? Very interesting. Very interesting.
Was horrified by the violence. Everybody other than the most extreme elements on the left, young people and old people, black people and white people, men and women, boys and girls, gay people, everybody was horrified that Charlie Kirk was gunned down, gushing blood out of his neck at some campus college event. And the mandate was unequivocal, which is find the culprit, destroy them. And that's exactly what the government was going to do. Didn't they say Stephen Miller and Vance were on the case and they were going to root out and destroy DSA in these socialist cells across the country? But then what happened? What happened right after that is all of a sudden everybody started to muddy the waters and blame it on Israel.
Can you believe he's saying this? Nick Fuentes, Mr. Anti-Israel, is saying the whole hoax about Charlie Kirk being tied to Israel is muddying the waters. This is wild. Something is happening here. Something is happening here.
Suddenly there was this narrative that people were wearing maroon and there were these Egyptian planes chasing Charlie Kirk and there were a bunch of Israelis there. And what about the angle from behind him? Didn't Charlie Kirk didn't he just crash out on Bill Ackman? Would you like to know where this narrative originated? The narrative that Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel originated in the gray zone with Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal is a Jew. Max Blumenthal used to work for the SPLC, the Huffington Post, Slate.
True.
The most far-left publications that are out there. And you think this guy criticizes Israel? He was out there doing hit pieces against David Irving. The Holocaust, the World War II is...
Regardless, he goes on and on and on. And that's honestly, it's mostly good stuff. This is wild. See, Nick's out there calling out the grift. I'm shocked, mind blown. What's happening? Like I said, did a check not clear? Nick was the darling with these guys just 6 months ago. He was interviewing with Tucker, hanging out with Candace. They were all buddy. What happened? Nick's been a grifter since the beginning. He's been a part of it for a long time. In with Trump, out with Trump. Pushing this whole Groyper spiel that doesn't help anybody. Oh, I'm going to vote Democrat in the next election. We got accelerationists. One of the stupidest ideas ever. Would have been better if Kamala won. Yeah, he said all this retarded stuff. He's been doing it for 9 years. Guy's a total grifter. He's a total fraud. But something's happening. Something's happening. And I don't know what it is, but we got to watch this carefully because it's starting to shift on all of them. I wonder if this has something to do with Farah. And let me get back to that in just a second here. Candace Owens right now is freaking out. This case, she says, is nothing. She's trying to get it dismissed, the Brian Harpole lawsuit. Candace is pretending she's been happy she's getting sued because it'll open Brian Harpole and TPUSA up to discovery. Her fans have been foolishly led to believe Candace being sued is a good thing and will help her further expose the fake conspiracy they believe in. What happened? Candace is full of shit. She did the exact same thing with Macron. She has to give off a false sense of confidence to maintain the illusion of conspiracies. Behind the scenes, her actions are much different than her words. Here's the paperwork of Candace fighting to get the case against her dismissed. I will tell you right now, there's a lot going on behind the scenes to finish these grifters. Trump has called them out in person a couple times. Alex Brusewitz, one of the guys who works with Trump's social media team, has been calling out foreign influence on these people. FARA violations. Candace going to Russia. Calling it out by name. Do you think that maybe behind the scenes, the walls are closing in? The foreign money is being tracked? They know it. They're getting scared. Is it possible Nick Fuentes, terrified that he's about to be exposed, is flipping gears, shifted, told Nick, you do this anymore, you're going to prison or we're taking everything from you? I don't know. It's just speculation. Maybe tomorrow Nick goes full retard again. I don't know. But I can tell you that what we just watched is not the Nick Fuentes of the last 5 years, 9 years. It's not. This is a man speaking sense. And I know. People are like, Nick's right a lot, but he's just bad. That doesn't even make sense. Nick's been wrong about so much. And he lies, and then what he does is he ties what he's right about into the lies and makes it all sound good. That's what he does, which makes you a liar. That's what the devil does. That's what the devil did to tempt Jesus in the wilderness. Use the Bible to tempt Jesus. He's still a liar, even though he used truthful phrases. Doesn't make you truthful. But this is different. This is him calling out a whole narrative. It's wild stuff. Defending the Jews, that the Jews didn't kill Charlie. That's wild. All I know is there's signs of panic in grifter world and Fagaland. Sometimes you see it obviously. Sometimes you just see it on their faces. They're very miserable people. But regardless, I'm going to keep calling it out because the psyops are never going to stop, folks, which means the grifter report's always going to continue. There's just going to be new stars here and there. But in the meantime, we'll keep calling them out, calling out their BS, because we do not want to fall in the trap of getting sucked in and them turning us against each other. Just like what's happening with Nick right now. We're not going to let that happen. And I'll be here to keep calling it out, and we'll laugh and have a good time while doing it. All right, guys, if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe. Let me catch up in the chat with you guys before we go today. But Molly Cruel, the $5 super chat, says, I still believe FAGA is a Trump planned psyop to collect the moderate Democrats in a new party to pass the GOP at the finish line. That is such an interesting belief. I hope you're right, because that would be more beneficial. It would mean there's actually some kind of method to this madness. I don't believe it, but I'll happily be proven wrong if it turns out that way. All right, let's see here. Did anybody tag me on anything? Could you get a perp walk of Bannon for Epstein? Now that would be interesting. I see some people defending Bannon. Listen, you can like Bannon if you're getting something out of his show, because some of the stuff is good on his show. He does interview good people. What I'll tell you, though, is, Cam, I would love to know what your explanation is of the Epstein files. Okay? Because I would really, really want to understand why he was undermining Trump with Epstein for a long time, over a couple years, and over more messages than Bill Gates. So I would love to know. Love to know. Let's see here. Looks like you guys mostly talk amongst yourselves today. That's all right. I'm just not seeing anything. If I miss something, guys, just resend it, okay? Steve Bannon did steal money from donations, yeah. He got all that wall donations and never did anything with it. Nobody knows where that money went. So, thank you, Jennifer Bowden, for joining the membership here on YouTube. Thank you for your support. You now have access to all the members live, so I appreciate you for that. Max Blumenthal's father worked for Bill Clinton. I didn't know that. That's crazy. You're welcome, Cat Fan. Thank you for watching. XRP says about 1,000 dead celebrities will soon walk out on stage and explain why they left the world stage. What? You know, I love these conspiracies, XRP. I don't agree with them. I don't think they'll happen, but I will say this. If you're right and I'm wrong, I will be thrilled to be wrong, because it would be very cool. DJ says the flip side, Megyn Kelly and Nick could just be retarded, not easy to defend and understand Trump's insanity. No, Nick is controlled. In fact, he is, it's almost 100% sure that he was the one who got the $100,000 from the SPLC to help the Charlottesville rally go on. So we know Nick is a grifter, and he is definitely paid. And Megan, Megan she's a lawyer. She came along later. She wasn't like some bimbo who started working in media when she was 20 years old. I think Megan's very sharp. I really do. Megan, you can tell by the way these people talk. That's part of it too. Nick is smart. I mean, listen how fast he talks. He's smart.
And all those people then went on a trip to Israel after the retreat. This $200 million.
He talks very authoritatively. He knows what he's going to say. He's not like Candace Owens, who's like, and making up new words. What's that? What's that? No, these people are smart. They're not retarded. They know what they're doing. As somebody who, speaks in front of a camera a lot and who's done a lot of public speaking, I can tell. I can tell by how people communicate, whether they're dumb or they're smart. Candace Owens is dumb. She is, she's clever, but she's dumb. Okay. And, it's why she's always back and forth. She can't keep track of her narrative. Tucker Carlson's similar. He's not like dumb, but he's not as smart as he wants you to think he is, but he is very clever. Nick Fuentes is smart, man. I want to be surprised if his IQ is like very high. Megyn Kelly too. They talk very, very smart. One of the many. Do I have an ETA for my video on data centers? I'm going to work on that. I still haven't gotten, I still haven't been able to sit down and work on it, build it out. I have the beginning of it. I haven't finished it. To the guy earlier, we're in a war called information war. That's very true. Yeah. Thank you guys. Swaggy says, Bannon saying Trump has a plan to win 2028. You know what? Bannon has said stuff like that. First of all, can we just nip this in the butt real quick? Bannon claims to have insider access to Trump. He doesn't. He no longer does. Trump kicked him out. He doesn't have insider access anymore. So when he says that, he's lying. Bannon is the same guy who said that in 2022, we were going to win such an overwhelming House majority, we'd be in charge for 100 years. And then we barely squeaked it out. Bannon does not know what he's talking about when he future casts. He sounds very smart. I used to listen to Bannon all the time. Trust me. I know it. I used to buy the lies. But man, I got burned so many times. Bannon's brilliant though. Don't get me wrong. Bannon's brilliant, but he's wrong a lot. And he lies a lot. Illustrated Live with a $25 super chat says, buy the kids a popsicle. Happy Independence Day. Thank you, Illustrated Live. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. You guys are so kind today. Let me check on Trump's feed. I always like to see what Trump's up to. All right, he's still just got this epic one up. The congratulating President Xi. No, Bannon's not stupid. He might be the smartest one. Okay? He might be the smartest one. No, anybody who thinks Bannon's stupid is greatly underestimating the man. But the problem is now we have years and years of evidence that he's not telling the truth to us. Let me see if anything new is going on X before we go today. Doesn't look like we're getting any new news right now. Yeah, nothing interesting. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, Matt Morse is good. He's just, I have nothing. First of all, when I say this, please, I have nothing against Matt Morse. I'm not saying anything against him. I think he's a good dude. I've watched the show a couple times now. I like him. I think he's doing good work. I don't get anything out of Matt's show, and it's not because of him. It's because I know all the surface level stuff. I need to listen to people who understand more than I do, who go deeper than I do, so I can learn. That's why I listen to Tom Luongo. I listen to a few of the other people on Rich's podcast. You know, I have a handful of people I listen to. I can't. Matt's show is basically my show, except he doesn't even talk about the City of London stuff. So I just don't get anything out of Matt's show. But I'm not saying he's bad. He does great work. Kudos to him. He's got a huge audience. I'm jealous of his audience. Good dude. Okay. He seems to be a good dude to me. Nothing against Matt at all. I just don't get anything out of him personally. And I'm sure I'd love to have a beer with him. I'm sure I'd love to interview him. All that stuff. Love to talk to him. I just don't think that when I've watched him, I'm not learning anything. Okay. You got to understand, when you've done what I've done for as long as I have, I've been studying politics for 25 years. Okay. Following the news for 25 years, understanding it, learning history. I know this stuff. I know where to go. I know how to research. I know where to get my answers. I know how to understand how stuff's written, why it's written a certain way. I know how to understand headlines. I know how to understand the grifters, what they're actually saying. I know all that. So when Matt is just giving you the basic stories of the day of what Trump's doing, I'm like, that's great. People need to know this, but it's not doing anything for me because I fly through that information very quickly. I'm more interested in what the story is behind the story. I want to give, I'm interested in the narrative. I'm interested in what it means. When I see job numbers, I don't just think, good job, Trump, you're getting job numbers up. I'm going to tell everybody job numbers are up. No, I think, what does this mean for the midterms? What does this mean for a year from now? That's how I think, and that's what my show is about. My show is about giving you guys a narrative and explaining to you what this all means. Okay. That's what I'm about. And that's, again, nothing against Matt at all. I tried watching his show and I didn't get anything out of it. But again, I'm sure he's a good dude. Okay. I really am. Barry Cunningham scolded you for 20 minutes. Why'd he do that? Andrew Wilson's joining TPUSA. Now that's interesting. That makes me like TPUSA more. He's for president. I don't think so. That's funny. Sub podcasts are good for the news. Absolutely. If you're getting some out of Matt's show, please go watch it. Please. It just doesn't do anything for me. I get everything off X. I get all my news off X. It's all you need. If you follow the right people on X, you literally get every piece of news that matters in the whole world. Everything is on X. Everything. You don't need to go anywhere else unless you're deep diving something. So go somewhere else for research, but for news, everything's on X. And also, honestly, a lot of research too. So, yeah, I get everything on X and I know how to go. I know how to get it fast. I could get everything off Matt's show that takes 2-3 hours to go through. I get all that information in, 30 minutes. And so I need the speed for me. It just slows me down too much. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. Thank you, Bobby. You guys are so nice. I appreciate you. Monica says, Matt's great. Ace can tell me why Star Wars was ruined, and Matt just tell me Star Wars isn't good anymore. That's one way to say it. X-22 is good. I like X-22. I haven't listened to him in a while, but I like him. Mike Ben's great stuff. If you want to talk about deep dives, that's like 2 deep dives for me. Ben's is so good, but he gets so in the weeds. I'm like, man, I can't remember all these details. I just know I need to know what it means, Mike. What does it mean? Yeah, see, dog, that's why I'm here. For people like you who don't have the time. X is a news cheat code. It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. Daniel says, how would I sequence events to win the midterms? I don't quite know what you mean by that, but let me just say, let's just go from where we're at, okay? Right now, we are in a very good place for the midterms because it's supposed to be that the Democrats are supposed to be way in charge. They're not. They're basically tied with us right now. The Voting Rights Act was a huge win for us. We redistricted. They got some of theirs shut down, like in Colorado and in Virginia. So big win. Iran's over. So Trump's approval is going back up. At least it's over for all intensive purposes. Gas prices are going down. The economy is starting to get better. From where we're at right now, basically tied with the Democrats. They are now facing a civil war because of what's happened with the communists coming in and winning in New York. So the Democrats are weaker right now than they've been since 2024. They're in a very weak position. Republicans are not in a super strong position, but we aren't supposed to be even where we're at. So by that metric, we're much stronger than we should be. Going forward, if the economy keeps getting better and we can keep pointing out the communists, we're in a very, very good place. So how do we win the midterms? Economy keeps getting better. We find effective narratives. Trump keeps calling stuff out, and the Democrats keep falling apart. If all that keeps happening, or even two out of those three keep happening, we win the midterms. We squeak out the House. The Senate, I think we're already going to win. Something bad has to happen for us not to win the Senate. The House is coin toss right now. I think it's 60-40 Republicans, but basically a coin toss. We win if the economy continues to improve. And I think it will. Oh, I got you about the housing. Interesting. I'm sorry, Pip, if you were affected by Graham Plattner personally. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, Sierra, in the midterms, we're, for all effective purposes, we're tied. All right, guys, I actually got to get out of here. It's over 3 hours. Holy smokes. This is 2 days in a row I've gone over 3 hours. So I got other stuff I got to do, including prep work before my trip. So God bless you guys. Thank you for watching today. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you feel better than you did at the beginning of the day. And guys, despite the Supreme Court stuff, we're still winning. We're still heading in the right direction. There's so much more going on behind the scenes. So good things are coming. Good things are coming. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Consider joining by getting in the chat, clicking the Patreon, getting a free month to the membership. Try it out. And, you might just love it. You might just love the Discord group. It's amazing. You might just love the members' content. So good stuff's coming. Let's pray and call it a day, and then I'll be back again tomorrow, okay, 12 p.m. All right? So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody here, Lord. Thank you for them, for their support, for watching. Bless them, Lord, whatever their needs are. And Father, we pray for our president that you would protect him, give him wisdom, give him courage in every impossible situation, especially navigating all this stuff, Lord. I pray that, God, you give Trump the keys and his team the keys to unlocking how to get the Senate to actually move on some of these things to save our nation. Father, I pray that you would bless us, Lord, bless our country, bless everybody in charge with the knowledge of how to navigate, get the midterms won, and how to stop anything that the deep state, City of London types want to do to try to ruin the momentum we're currently on. And Father, I pray for our country that you would bring peace, prosperity, and justice to our country like never before. Expose the corrupt, expose the grifters, bring justice to them, Lord, in Jesus' name. And Lord, help us leave a better country to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids than we got to experience. In Jesus' name, amen. Love you guys. Have a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Screaming like a siren at night, red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies while the clock keeps ticking.